in federal law enforcement funds. The ruling by U.S. District Judge Edgardo Ramos in Manhattan is a victory for New York City and the states of New York, Connecticut, Massachusetts, New Jersey, Virginia, and Washington, which had sued the administration over the conditions in July. Ramos is at least the fourth federal judge to rule against President Donald Trump's administration on the issue. Ramos ordered the administration to award the funds without condition. New York Attorney General Barbara Underwood said in a statement, "Today's decision is a major win for the New Yorkers' public safety." The U.S. Department of Justice could not immediately be reached for comment. The lawsuits concern the Edward Byrne Memorial Justice Assistance Grants, which provide federal funds for state and local law enforcement. The Trump administration announced last year that to receive funding, state and local governments must give federal immigration authorities access to their jails and advance notice of immigrants released from custody. Federal judges in Pennsylvania, California, and Illinois have already ruled against the policy. The 7th U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals has upheld the Illinois ruling, finding that Congress and not the administration has the authority to decide how funds are spent. You can support FPP Radio by joining the Fans program. To learn more or to join the Fans program, visit fans.fppradio.com. That's fans.fppradio.com. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.
A man thanks God he's not sexually attracted to children, and Popeye's home is burglarized. Week in and week out, you come back like a housebroken Pomeranian, loyal to the bitter end. Good boy. This is the Onion Week in Review. Georgia's Cobb County Evangelical Hospital held its 5th annual Walk to Cure Gayness today, reportedly drawing thousands of participants to raise funds that would cure sufferers of their homosexuality and make gayness a thing of the past. Hospital administrators told reporters that funding from the walk would go into providing new state-of-the-art gayness treatment equipment, along with remodeling the hospital's physical therapy center, which has spent nearly 14 years reteaching gay men how to walk properly.
Oh God, I was a goner. But as you can see, I'm now happily married to a woman, and as of next month, I will have been in full remission for 2 whole years. I'm just so very, very happy. Everything's really good in my life.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
This is Free Talk Live. Kicking off another live Saturday edition of the program. As always, you're invited to join us here if you want to talk about whatever you want to discuss on the radio with you tonight. It's Ian.
And Mark.
So, Mark, I don't think you were out of town. I think you might have been. You left for like a week during the Thanksgiving holiday. And just 2 days before Thanksgiving, some of the folks here from the Free Talk Live crew went down on a little field trip. Down to
I was here for that, yes.
You were here for that, okay. Down to Northampton. You left what, the next day?
I don't know.
Anyway, you didn't go on the field trip with us.
No, I'm not that sort.
Northampton. It's a little town in Massachusetts, a small city, I guess, in Massachusetts, where one of 2 recreational cannabis stores opened up. The very first recreational cannabis availability on the retail market east of the Mississippi in the United States. So it was a historic day. And me and Daryl Perry and some of the other folks from behind the scenes here at Free Talk Live, we went down there and checked it out, stood in the lines, went through the whole process, kind of like people do on Black Friday, but it was Green Tuesday in this particular case. And we got there at around 7:10 in the morning. The doors were slated to open at 8 a.m. So we're waiting there, a good 50 minutes just before they open the doors. And then after they opened the doors, it took about 2 hours for us to actually get inside. So we got there early enough to where it wasn't going to be the longest wait probably people would experience all day, because the line kind of only wrapped halfway around the parking lot, basically. And by the time we got in, the line wrapped fully around the parking lot and down the street. So it had turned into a 4-hour line, I would say, at that point. They really did a good job, I think, of moving people through as quickly as they possibly could. I mean, the amount of time I spent in there was relatively small. They handed out menus to people while they were waiting in line, so you would know what you wanted to get.
Make up your mind before you get to the door.
Right.
By the way, a lot of you folks waiting in the lines at fast food restaurants could use a little advice there too.
To make up their mind.
Right, yeah, right. You could avail yourself of this advice.
Apparently, there were still some people who got inside and still had yet to actually make. And they had questions. You know, people have questions, right? I'm sure it was everyone's first time ever buying marijuana while standing in that line. No one in that line had ever bought marijuana illegally before that day. So, of course, they had a lot of questions about what it was they were buying. No, and that would have been one of the questions that I asked if I had the opportunity. Unfortunately, it was raining the whole time, and so I had my video camera with me, but I'd left it in the car just because I don't have the rain gear or whatever.
Don't need to have your video camera destroyed.
Right. But I would have loved to have asked the people in the line the question of, is this your first time buying cannabis? Because, you know, the whole idea that prohibitionists want you to believe is that if you legalize a thing, that it'll become more prevalent. Right? The idea behind drug prohibition is that if you make a thing illegal, put penalties alongside its possession,
disincentivize its possession,
that people will stay away from the thing. Right. And so I think it would have been really interesting to go down the line of people and interview folks. And one of the questions would be to ask them, is this your first time buying marijuana in your life?
I suspect the answer to that is almost unanimously
99 point. I'm just betting, but I don't know. I didn't get to actually do that.
The thing is that whether we're still in New Hampshire where marijuana is illegal. It says a medical marijuana law, but we don't have any dispensaries that I know of.
There are some medical facilities in New Hampshire.
I don't know a lot about.
There's a limited number of them.
But there are states still in the United States where it's just illegal, basically, to have marijuana. That doesn't stop people from getting it. And mostly, you're just not going to get in trouble for it. It's just, the law enforcement can't stop marijuana.
Any cop who's honest with you will admit that that's true.
Right. And I'd like to take this moment to congratulate drugs in winning the war on drugs. Right? Like
it ain't over yet.
Ladies and gentlemen, the war on drugs started with Nixon.
Yeah.
In basically my entire life, I am 47 years old.
Yeah.
And the war on drugs has continued my whole life. We've been told the whole time, bad, bad, bad. And, well,
it started back in, it wasn't called the war on drugs, but prohibition of cannabis started in the 30s. Nixon started the war. Right.
That was the war on drugs. They were actually going to stop this stuff from happening, and it just didn't work. Didn't work on alcohol.
No,
it turns out, sadly, whether you like it or not, sadly might not be the right term, but whether you like it or not, humans like to alter their consciousness. At least a good percentage of them do. Some of them don't.
Maybe a majority of them.
Maybe the good ones out there don't want to do it. But
I want to know if those people have caffeinated beverages.
Oh yeah, you've got to be very clear that first your Red Bull, your caffeine, your cigarettes, your alcohol, all these things are drugs. And just because your drug's legal and somebody else's drug is illegal does not make you better than them. That's all. That's it.
Right.
And oh yes, alcohol is the most devastating of drugs.
It's right up there with heroin.
It destroys families. I think it's worse.
Yeah. It's probably more prevalent.
We hear all kinds of terrible things about what heroin and meth do in especially Midwest and West and all that stuff. Yeah, I'm sorry. We live in a world that has been shaped by alcohol.
Yeah, and people put it in its own category, which isn't fair. It is a drug.
It deserves its own category because it's devastatingly worse than the rest of those drugs.
It is far more available and far more popular, so therefore it's going to affect more people.
Think about human history. How many generals knocked back one too many brandies and sent people rushing into battle that probably shouldn't have been sent there? How many social policies were handed down by some king who hadn't been sober in years? How many Ugladai Khan, Ugladai, that was Genghis Khan's son, the guy was never sober. And he controlled the largest empire in human history.
Yeah.
Okay. And we're probably just kind to our superiors historically, and we don't mention that they're drunk. They were drunk all the time. Alcohol had a huge effect on human history, and just think about how it destroys families, destroys productivity, all these things. Look, I'm not saying you shouldn't drink. I drank last night, but I am saying that if you're going to, you can't drink and put your nose up to people who use marijuana or even frickin' meth.
Otherwise, you're a hypocrite.
The problem with meth and with heroin has more to do with the war on drugs than it has to do with the terrible effects of those drugs.
So true. Let's go to John. He is apparently, or actually, we're waiting for him to be put on hold here. Toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. By the way, we do have our Discord on-air call-in line rooms, which will make you sound almost like you're sitting here in the studio with us. Just join our Discord server over at discord.lrn.fm. That allows you to interact not just with us on the air, but also anytime, 24/7. There are listeners in there in various different rooms of discussion. So there's the On Air Now room, which is usually the hot room during our live hours, 7 to 10 at night Eastern Time. And then there's, again, a bunch of other rooms like cryptocurrency and gaming and that sort of thing. So head on over to discord.lrn.fm. That'll get you on there. And so we're going to bring John on here in Dover in just a moment. I apologize. There's some technical difficulties there, but apparently his subject is he's smoking pot right now. Here he is, calling from Dover, listening to WDOV. Hello, John.
Hi, guys. I love pot.
Yeah. Okay. Tell me about it.
Well, I'm in Dover, Delaware, and I was just telling a guy there on the phone that, we almost got the recreational bill passed last year, unfortunately.
Really?
We missed it by one single vote in legislation stuff.
Oh, wow. Legislation,
yeah, man, one vote, of course. But listen to this even further than that. They have the medical dispensaries here. That's what I wanted to talk about, which is fabulous if you have a medical issue, which when it comes to that, everybody has a medical issue. But anyhow...
Right.
It's very
I get
expensive,
and sometimes my back hurts.
Exactly.
Right. I could help you.
Whatever you got. What is your ailment? It's like the old Robitussin thing that the comedian did there. Put some tussin on it,
That said, there are people who really do swear by cannabis, and it really, you can see, there's certain people who have certain maladies that are actually visibly relieved.
100,000,000%
by cannabis. Hang on, John. More coming up here in a moment. We can let you continue.
Why is it pot smokers sound like that? Why?
And they have a laugh too. There's a certain laugh too. All right, more on the way here. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Cannabis legalization hits hits Massachusetts first, and we'll tell you more about it coming up. Free Talk Live.
We have some good news. The indictments against Ross Ulbricht in the District of Maryland were dismissed with prejudice, meaning they can never be refiled. This is especially good because those indictments contain the only charge ever made that Ross engaged in murder for hire. This was a serious allegation that Ross Ulbricht denies. It was never prosecuted or ruled on by a jury, but was trumpeted by the federal government and the media as if it were proven fact. The Maryland court held these indictments for almost 5 years, poisoning Ross's case and leaving him under a cloud of unproven allegations. As explained in Ross's appeal to the Supreme Court, the fact that the judge used these allegations to give Ross a draconian sentence of double life without parole violated his Sixth Amendment right to a jury trial. Judges are required to issue sentences based on convictions decided by a jury, not unproven allegations never even charged at trial. Although this is a positive development, the dropped indictment will not set Ross free. Now, a presidential pardon is Ross's only hope of freedom. Sign the petition at freeross.org. freeross.org.
Bitcoin.com is delighted to announce their latest partnership with the gift card specialists at eGifter. With many of the world's leading brands on their roster, it is now easier than ever to get the gift cards of your favorite brands with Bitcoin Cash. To get started, just follow these simple steps. Visit giftcards.bitcoin.com, pick the gift card you want, follow the instructions on your screen, and make your payment using your Bitcoin Cash wallet. Sit tight and your gift card will be delivered to you as soon as it's ready. That's giftcards.bitcoin.com.
There are basically two types of advertising, direct response and branding. Radio's great for direct response with its low cost to listener ratio, but audio can't be beat for branding, which is a longer term endeavor. You want to be the first thing that someone thinks of when they think about your product or service. If you have a local business that you want kept top of mind in your community, call the station. If you need national reach, Free Talk Live's got around 200 radio stations, millions of monthly listening sessions, can suit all budgets, and if we don't think we're right for you, we'll tell you. Email me, mark@freetalklive.com.
The Free State Project has reached its goal of 20,000 liberty lovers who've pledged to move to New Hampshire and get active to achieve liberty in our lifetime. Perhaps you're trying to figure out what part of New Hampshire should be your destination. If so, consider Keene. You'll find more than 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com. Keene is famous for its historic, publicity-generating activism, as well as being the liberty media capital of the world. It's home to freekeene.com, New Hampshire's destination for liberty activism, news, and opinion. For years, we've been compiling over 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com, where you'll learn about some of what's happening here and what makes Keene a great place to live. If you love liberty, you'll probably enjoy anywhere you end up in the Shire. But do your due diligence first. Please visit move.freekeene.com for the full list of over 150 reasons to move to Keene. That's move.freekeene.com. The LRN.FM social media channels have been revamped. We've eliminated Facebook and focused on other platforms like Twitter and Mastodon, the decentralized alternative to Twitter. On our accounts, you'll find posts from multiple LRN.FM show hosts together in one place. Follow us on Twitter at twitter.lrn.fm, or better yet, move to the decentralized Mastodon social media platform at toot.lrn.fm, toot.lrn.fm. I think you'll like it.
Radio is the most personal of mediums. I exist right now in your head. If you listen to Free Talk Live regularly, you know me. Free Talk Live is on more than 160 radio stations around the U.S. and has been downloaded on every continent around the world. Hundreds of thousands of listeners with ad packages from $600 a month to $6,000 a month. Imagine what we can do for your business, project, website, or idea. Email me, mark@freetalklive.com.
Some of our live shows are streamed in HD on Twitch. Please follow and share at twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. You can bring up whatever you want here and take control of the airwaves. Toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733, talking about Massachusetts being the first state to actually open the doors on privately run cannabis dispensaries for recreational purposes. And the first places that are getting the licenses are those who are already in business as medical facilities. So basically, they're getting in the door first.
The biggest problem with that I can see is that a place like Massachusetts was the first one to do it east of the Mississippi.
Yeah, it's too bad.
It's if you're in Florida, you're in Texas, chances are good you're like, oh yeah, well, liberal Massachusetts decided to do something. Of course we wouldn't do it because the things they do are bad, and the things that the opposite of those bad things must be good things to do. So I don't know.
Well, that would be a really short-sighted, dumb way to look at things, but there are certainly people who think like that.
Yes.
So we can, of course, take your calls and thoughts about what you want. I do want to let you know that everyone loves a choo-choo train, but they've outlived their usefulness, buoyed by our nostalgia and propelled by tax dollars. In his new work, Romance of the Rails, Why the Passenger Trains We Love Are Not the Transportation We Need, historian Randall O'Toole covers the illustrious history of the locomotive and unwinds our fond memories from fantasy. Published by the Cato Institute, Romance of the Rails is the perfect gift for those that love trains. Get Romance of the Rails this holiday season by Randall O'Toole at Amazon and at all major bookstores. As we go back to John in Dover, Delaware, saying that in apparently Delaware, they almost legislatively passed legalization of cannabis, but it failed by one vote. And I know you had more to say, so go ahead, John.
Horseshoes and hand grenades and atomic weapons with the almost thing, you follow?
Huh?
Well, no.
What now?
Almost. Horseshoe. I said almost.
Yes.
Horseshoes, hand grenades, and atomic bombs. That's what the almost counts for. We didn't quite get it. But I wanted to say, too, guys, about the medical dispensaries. It's really pricey, first of all. You pay about $120 for a quarter at these here dispensaries.
Wow.
And I get the same Fuego. If not, I would say better. I'm not trying to boast or brag.
Now, how much of that is taxes? The $120, is that, what percentage is that tax, or is tax on top of that?
I wish I knew better, to be honest with you, because that may be the exact reason why they would have to charge you $120 for something that they're actually growing themselves. Because in Delaware, in order to sell it and have a dispensary set up medically, you got to be able to, have your own grow rooms and all that stuff. You got to grow your own product. That's how it works here in Delaware.
We have grow rooms for other vegetables. We call them greenhouses. It's
exactly. We're talking grow room is a small. It makes it sound minuscule. We're talking about warehouse size facilities that grow marijuana.
Right. I mean, we're selling other forms of produce at, I don't know, I just saw grapes on sale at the Price Chopper at $1.69 a pound. And I remember when they used to be 79 cents a pound.
Right.
But
regular price.
It's crazy you said that because I just bought grapes last week. They got these excellent cotton candy grapes. I don't know if you guys got a hold of these things yet, but they literally smell and taste like cotton candy.
Where do you get those?
I like grapes with my marijuana.
Where do you get cotton candy grapes?
Up here at Redner's, the food store, right here locally. We got a Redner's.
Fascinating.
Up
John, thank you for the call tonight. I appreciate hearing from you. The toll-free number is 8. Do you think those are real, Mark? Cotton candy grapes?
Of course they're real. I mean,
have you heard of them before?
If he says they're real, they're real.
Well, just because somebody calls in and says something doesn't mean it's true.
The way he delivered that, he's not lying.
Okay. All right. Wow. Is that I wonder if that's genetically modified? How do you do that?
Well, I don't know what genetically modified is, but produce is better than it was when I was a kid.
Yeah.
We've got a lot more choices when you go to the produce section. It's I love the line from the movie K-Pax is the produce on this planet made the trip all worthwhile. Because I just love the produce section. There's so many great options there. I mean, how many apples do we get a choice from? When I was a kid, all I knew about was a red delicious apple, which is a fine apple. I'm not going to disparage it. Lots of people will. I'm not a big fan of a Macintosh, but nonetheless, there are lots of different types of apples. You can get these Honey Crisps, Cortlands, and there's so many different types out there, and I just love them all.
Right here on their website here for the cotton candy grapes, they claim non-GMO. So somehow they've managed to make grapes taste like cotton candy. These plump, juicy, all-natural green grapes are one of our newest varieties, and they're one that everyone's excited about. Cotton candy, registered trademark, grapes taste exactly like the pink spun sugar treat that you loved as a kid at the circus, and we mean exactly. Pop some in your mouth, close your eyes, and you're that kid again. And here's the bonus. These grapes aren't sticky and loaded with granulated sugar like the fluffy stuff you munched on back in the day. How did they do this? I am fascinated now. I want to try these.
Well, I'm sure that they'll be coming to a produce section near you.
Anyway, amazing. So whether you want to talk
I just want to salute all the farmers out there, all the people who are in the agribusiness that are making better products for us that are just so exciting all the time. And the fact that you get all these things, I just went and bought a tomato. It's December. There's snow on the ground, and I'm getting fresh tomatoes.
People just can't believe how much they taste like real cotton candy. There's no other grape quite like them. Try them for yourself, and you'll see your whole family will love them. We guarantee it. That's amazing. I don't know what the technology is that allows you to make grapes taste like cotton candy without genetically modifying them, but that's pretty interesting stuff. Yeah. So thanks for sharing that with us, John, there in Dover. Our toll-free number, if you want to join us here, is 855-450-FREE. Opening up here tonight with the news about Massachusetts and their legalization of recreational cannabis purchases. Now, the stores, only 2 of them, were initially opened this last week, and they're going to open 3 more relatively soon. So they'd approved 3 more licenses on the same day last week that they opened up the first 2 stores. So hopefully we're going to see the lines lessen over time. Will Coley from the Call to Freedom, which is another radio show on LRN.FM, he went down there this week, 1 week afterwards, and waited in line for 3 hours.
Gosh.
Yeah, can you imagine that? 3-hour wait a week later for a product that you're limited in purchase, by the way. They're limiting you to 1/8 of an ounce per
How
person.
much is that 1/8 of an ounce?
$50.
I can't imagine why
More expensive than the black market.
Yeah, I can't imagine why people are paying this. I just don't get it.
And waiting for 3 hours. And plus, sorry, let me clarify, $50 plus 20% tax. So $60.
Pretty soon, I would hope the marketplace is going to drive those prices down.
That's what I hope too.
But
again, with more
it's been legal in
locations.
Colorado for some time, and it doesn't go down.
I think the prices have gone down, actually.
Okay.
Yeah, in California, Colorado, states like that. Customers spent more than $2 million, according to the Boston Globe, on marijuana products during the first week of recreational sales in Massachusetts. This is according to data from the state's Cannabis Control Commission. Cultivate in Leicester and New England Treatment Access, or NETA, in Northampton. The first 2 shops on the East Coast made a total of $2.2 million between November 20th and November 25th. So 5 days, $2.2 million revenue.
Prohibition in this country created a huge bureaucracy that surrounds the sale of alcohol.
Yes, and that's coming soon for cannabis.
As if we need that. As if you're somehow in your state, it would be terrible if they sold, I don't know, a bottle of liquor in a grocery store like they do in Maine or in a variety of other states. I mean, it's these states and their control on alcohol.
It's obsessive.
It's just a protection racket.
Yeah, they're not helping anybody.
The mob.
Right. They're not keeping people safe from drinking too much. Right.
They'll help you. In the case of New Hampshire, the state sells you the liquor.
There's more on the way here. Our number is 855-450 free. It's Free Talk Live.
Hunters, anglers, campers, and survivalists. Get back to nature. Expand your horizons with the highest quality, most versatile, unique slingshots and sling bows on the market at slingbow.com. Slingbow products are compact and models start from just $17.98. They're perfect for your bug out bag or storing in your vehicle. Give yourself and your loved ones the excitement and tradition of Slingbow, a new frontier in archery and truly modern twist on this primitive survival tool. Feel the thrill only at slingbow.com.
Most of you know that heart disease is the #1 silent killer in the U.S. What if I told you for just $54.95 a month you could fight against heart disease naturally? At Heart and Body Extract, we've been helping thousands of people get back to a healthier heart. Don't just take my word for it. Check out all of the success stories at hbextract.com, or to order, call 866-295-5305. That's 866-295-5305. hbextract.com. Don't risk it when you can take charge of it.
This is Michael Dean from the Freedom Fiends. I've run websites since 1996 and have used over a dozen web hosts in that time. AgristHosting.com is the only one that hasn't broken my heart. Agrist Hosting's uptime and service is stellar, and their DDoS mitigation is the best I've seen. That's important because if you tell the truth in this world, you'll ruffle feathers. And some people will try dirty tricks to silence your voice. No matter what the haters hit us with, Agrist Hosting keeps our websites online. If you have a mission-critical commercial presence or a world-changing activism site, you cannot tolerate any skullduggery. So go with agristhosting.com. Have a WordPress or blog site, but you're not satisfied with performance or uptime? Or just want raw hosting? Want to pay with Bitcoin? Agrist Hosting specializes in high-performance hosting with personalized service. Go to agristhosting.com and click on the button that says Get Hosted. That's agristhosting.com.
This Your Family Today tip is brought to you by Lil Drums. Every bit as fun as a full-size Nestle drumstick cone, and definitely cuter. Visit us at drumstick.com. Vacations are all about family time, but you don't have to leave home to have fun. Take 1 weekend a month and devote it to family activities. Pull out the board games and puzzles, serve up some treats, or have a picnic. Even without leaving home, you'll feel like you've really had some time away. For more tips like these, visit us at parenthood.com/yourfamilytoday.
Did you know we've taken our LRN.FM telephone listen line to a new level with the LRN.FM audio on demand line? Now you can call 712-770-8447 anytime and listen to LRN.FM's live feed. And you can listen to a bunch of our original shows on demand. Long distance fees may apply. Just dial 712-770-8447 and choose from the menu. 712-770-8447.
We have some good news. The indictments against Ross Ulbricht in the District of Maryland were dismissed with prejudice, meaning they can never be refiled. This is especially good because those indictments contain the only charge ever made that Ross engaged in murder for hire. This was a serious allegation that Ross Ulbricht denies. It was never prosecuted or ruled on by a jury, but was trumpeted by the federal government and the media as if it were proven fact. The Maryland court held these indictments for almost 5 years, poisoning Ross's case and leaving him under a cloud of unproven allegations. As explained in Ross's appeal to the Supreme Court, the fact that the judge used these allegations to give Ross a draconian sentence of double life without parole violated his Sixth Amendment right to a jury trial. Judges are required to issue sentences based on convictions decided by a jury, not unproven allegations never even charged at trial. Although this is a positive development, the dropped indictment will not set Ross free. Now, a presidential pardon is Ross's only hope of freedom. Sign the petition at freeross.org. freeross.org.
Love what we do? Please help support our international satellite channels at patreon.lrn.fm. That's patreon.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live. Dial toll-free to join us here, the live Saturday edition of the program. Coming up, if we get the chance, apparently there's a hunger strike going on south of the border in Tijuana with some of the migrants going on strike. We'll tell you what that's all about. It's Ian and Mark in the studio here tonight, and our toll-free number, if you want to join us on the radio, is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. And Bitcoin.com is delighted to announce their latest partnership with the gift card specialists over at eGifter. They've got many of the world's leading brands on their roster, like Domino's, Home Depot, Uber, Hotels.com, Nike, and hundreds more. You pick the gift card you want, and then follow the instructions on the screen over at giftcards.bitcoin.com. Make your payment using your Bitcoin Cash wallet, and then sit tight. Your gift card will be delivered to you as soon as it's ready. It's giftcards.bitcoin.com. As we go to your calls and thoughts, we're talking about the beginnings of legal recreational cannabis sales in Massachusetts. First place in the country east of the Mississippi. Historic week over the last week and a half at this point. And the initial numbers, $2.2 million in revenue between two stores, just two, in Massachusetts during the 5-day period that the stores were first open. So basically the first week, although they were closed on Thanksgiving. So we'll get into more about that. Your calls and thoughts. Welcome. Matthew is on the line, listening on our YouTube channel. Hello, Matthew.
Hey, how y'all doing?
Good. What's on your mind tonight?
Two things if I have a chance. One, when y'all hear the word conservative, what impressions come to y'all's mind?
Stuffy. I usually think of sort of flag wavers. I think of
warmongers.
Yeah, people that have convinced themselves that they're for human freedom, that they're for states' rights, that they're for liberty, when in fact they have a whole series of beliefs that aren't.
That contradict that.
Right.
Okay.
I would have called myself a conservative in the past.
Ian, what about you?
I have to say I generally agree with Mark, although I wouldn't necessarily have called myself a conservative in the past. I was raised by a couple of Republicans, so I guess arguably I probably was.
You in the Rush Limbaugh
at some
club
point. Yeah, I mean, in middle school I was in the Rush Limbaugh club, but after that I became a libertarian relatively quickly.
Sure did.
When I think of conservatives, I think of people who are generally socially intolerant. I think of people who hearken back to some sort of mythological time that never actually existed.
Democrats do that too.
Yeah, I'm not saying they don't.
Everybody thinks that the 50s decade was somehow great, except for anybody who is of any ethnic descent.
When I think of Democrats,
I don't think of it at all.
I think of intolerance as well, just a different type of intolerance. Yeah. And
okay.
So conservatives like to hearken back to this sort of falsified version of the past that never really actually existed except in their minds, and Leave It to Beaver or something like that.
I was curious because Rush is wondering if the brand conservative has been damaged, and I'd say, judging by y'all's reaction, I'd say yes.
Well, I think Rush.
What's it supposed to be?
I really don't know because there's so many. He talks about, and listen, I'm a fan of his, but he talks about things that are contradictory. He's talking about America as being, a free nation, and I'm thinking to myself, it's mostly free.
Yeah.
He actually still says that? He still says it's a free nation?
Yeah, well, nobody calls him up and contradicts him.
Well, he's not going to take your call.
He's going to take the call anyway.
No, he does take calls who...
once a week?
How many? A week.
He takes more calls than Hannity. Hannity doesn't take any calls.
We take more calls in a night than they take in a week.
Oh, yeah. I
Combined.
will grant you that. Now, the other thing y'all were
Those
talking
calls are
about
highly screened, I'd like to point out. When you called in Free Talk Live, the phone screener generally asks your name, where you're calling from, and briefly what you want to talk about. One word is sufficient.
It's really easy to live in an echo chamber. It's really easy to live in a bubble when you're a talk show host and you don't take calls. When you do take calls, somebody can call in and ask you a question that brings you to a new realization.
That's why they screen the hell out of the calls.
Year after year.
They want to know exactly what you're going to say. If you start to stray during your call from what you said you were going to say, they will cut you off.
Right. Free Talk Live has lost stations because we've been told again and again, look, you're just too far out there for our conservative audience. And that's cool. Right? Like, I get it. You want to brand your station the way you want to brand your station. But all that means is that your audience is a bunch of people who, A, can't pick up the phone, make a telephone call, and ask me a good question. They either believe what they believe fallaciously, or they can't articulate what they believe. Because I'm ready for the call.
Yeah, now, there was one other thing I wanted to bring up, and it was about the marijuana legalization, which I am in favor of, because I think the way that we're fighting the war on drugs, even if you agree with the goals, has been very damaging to our society.
Yep.
And that is...
And the Constitution. Right? Like the Fourth and Fifth Amendments are basically useless now.
Right. Well, what is this Constitution of which you speak? But... The problem is, I work in heavy industry. I'm in the oil industry. And one of the things that they do is they screen you regularly for things that get you high, get you stupid, and especially after an accident. And I can see that we could wind up losing good employees whose only sin was that they had a joint at night, but the THC sticks around in your bloodstream
for 30 days.
Like luggage. And
there needs to be a better test for marijuana, one that doesn't say that you've smoked in the last 30 days, but one that says you're
high right now.
High or in some way or another affected by marijuana. I will say that, alcohol affects you far after you are no longer drunk. I mean, there's still the hangover, and you can your mind's numbed in some cases for days afterwards if you really tie one on. And I don't know how that. I don't know what those effects are on marijuana, but I suspect they're shorter term.
Well, as far as the effects of alcohol, nothing like a good hard day on the rig floor to get rid of that.
Yeah. It's some sweat.
Hey, Matthew, I want to say thanks, man, for the call tonight. In regards to the job, I would say this. Private companies can set whatever policies they want to. If they want to have a very restricted policy when it comes to the use of mind-altering substances off-duty, they should be able to have that policy, and you can go and find somewhere else to work if it's that important.
And they should be able to couple with insurance companies that also have tough policies. Look, if an insurance company will give you some kind of 50% break on your insurance policy or something because your employees are simply not allowed to use mind-altering substances, then the Mormons are going to do great out there in Utah.
They certainly will, but there's no oil out there. Okay,
thanks, Matthew. Guys. I appreciate it, man. Yep, the toll-free number here tonight. If you want to join us, 855-450-FREE. And I think that as cannabis becomes more prevalent above board, right, because it's always been there, and millions of Americans over many years have used it, and it would never have stopped, no matter how hard the war on drugs tried to crack down. So it's becoming more visible now, right? So we're starting to see more people feeling comfortable with being out there. They're standing in lines now in Massachusetts for 3 hours at a time. Anybody who drives by can see people there. There's news cameras. There were some people who were trying to kind of hide it. They had dark glasses on. They would turn away whenever the video cameras would walk by. But it's out there now. And as it becomes more out there, I think you're probably going to see a loosening, likely, of these policies over time as businesses realize that they may indeed be losing some of their best employees if they're cracking down on what is now a legal substance for them to use.
Also, the branding is changing surrounding marijuana. I mean, the older generation that's never used it is learning new things about it.
Sure, because we can actually do some studies on it now.
Right. My mother, I remember back in the 80s, she was at jury duty, and some terrible case that involved crack cocaine, and she's like, I don't ever want you to use marijuana, because in some way or another, to her mind, it was related to crack cocaine, right? And, well, today, not so much. Like Florida, well, there's at least medical marijuana in Florida.
And how does your mom feel about marijuana today?
She just doesn't care.
Okay, that's a change in the right direction. 855-450-FREE. That's the toll-free number here. You can join us live Saturday edition. This is Free Talk Live.
There are basically two types of advertising: direct response and branding. Radio's great for direct response with its low cost to listener ratio, but audio can't be beat for branding, which is a longer term endeavor. You want to be the first thing that someone thinks of when they think about your product or service. If you have a local business that you want kept top of mind in your community, call the station. If you need national reach, Free Talk Live's got around 200 radio stations, millions of monthly listening sessions, can suit all budgets, and if we don't think we're right for you, we'll tell you. Email me, mark@freetalklive.com.
Are you a cryptocurrency advocate? The Crypto Tip is the ideal outreach tool to help new people discover cryptocurrency. It's a printable business card-sized tip that you can give to service providers, preferably in addition to a good cash tip. When the server scans the QR code, it'll bring up an explanation of cryptocurrency, how to install a wallet, and allow them to claim the tip. If they don't claim the crypto, you get your tip refunded to you after a time period you specify. Plus, if they do claim the tip, you get an email alert. Create as many tips as you want at cryptotip.org. That's cryptotip.org.
Offer not valid in all states or where prohibited by law. Loans are subject to lender approval. See website for details.
Do you need extra cash to buy gifts or just to pay all those extra bills during the holidays? Well, now you can get cash fast this holiday season with a personal loan for up to $5,000 right from your phone or PC at 79cash.com. How fast can you get your cash? Well, with 79cash.com, our lenders can have your cash at your bank account as soon as tomorrow, regardless of your credit history. Just have a checking account and a regular source of income. Go to 79cash.com and you can get the cash loan you need now. So if you need cash fast this holiday season to buy gifts or pay all those extra bills, go to 79cash.com and get the cash you need. Visit 79cash.com. Type www.79cash.com directly into the address bar. That's 79cash.com. 79cash.com. 79cash.com.
Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm. If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com. You can get emailed announcements and participate in contests via our email updates list. Plus, we have a Twitter account that you can follow and a Facebook page where you can become a fan. So visit news.freetalklive.com to get news about Free Talk Live as soon as it's announced and the way you want it delivered at news.freetalklive.com. That's news.freetalklive.com. What do you shop for that you could otherwise buy at Amazon? Pretty much everything, right? Amazon has competitive pricing and they deliver, and that's a big plus. If you could plan ahead in your shopping, would you be interested in saving up to 33%? There's a catch. You have to do your shopping in Bitcoin. But imagine those savings. It's like a huge raise. All you have to do is go to saveitpurse.com. We've saved thousands, and you can too. Plan ahead and save. Saveitpurse.com.
Now you can follow LRN.FM on the decentralized Mastodon social media platform at toot.lrn.fm, toot.lrn.fm.
Hey, it is Free Talk Live. You can dial toll-free. Join us here. Our number is 855-450-FREE. Like freedom, that's 855-450-3733. We've also got the Discord on-air call-in line rooms. They are open and available to you over at discord.lrn.fm. We've been talking sort of roundabout regarding issues related to legalization of recreational cannabis in Massachusetts. In this case, that's where the news is coming out of, where more than $2 million, $2.2 million, was the revenue between two different stores that opened up first. There's going to be more coming, but two to start. So they get to charge the most that they'll probably ever be able to charge, because as more competition enters the market, we're hopefully going to see the prices go down. Right now, the black market is cheaper by a significant margin, I would say, as compared to the legal market, but that doesn't stop people from lining up in 3-hour-long lines. Still, today, more than a week later, 3-hour-long lines as of Tuesday this week at least, to purchase a little bit of marijuana, restricting customers to 1/8 of an ounce. So you're standing in line for 3 hours just to buy 1/8. That's it. You can buy some goodies like, some edibles and things like that. Not just so it's just 1/8 of flour. There's restrictions on the other things you can buy, but you can get more than you can walk out with more than 1/8's worth of THC-based product. It's just only the flour itself that's restricted to that. Now, I imagine that's going to loosen up as they get some better idea of what demand is like and can, plan to supply that demand, unlike in places like Canada, where in Ontario apparently they ran out completely, and the
government's running their marijuana system there, and I'm sorry, folks, it's just a bad organizational model
to do anything
to provide people with things.
Right? They weren't fulfilling orders. There was backlogs. It was just a nightmare, and that was just what I heard after the first week. I don't know what's been going on up there since. So if you know what's the latest in Canada on their recreational cannabis sales, you're welcome to share your thoughts with us. Our toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. And by the way, I want to say thanks to Teddy Graham. He is a silver amplifier, the Free Talk Live AMP program over at amp.freetalklive.com. AMP stands for Advertise, Market, and Promote, and it's a simple concept. It's you helping us get this show out there to more people, because there just aren't really any other viewpoints like this in national syndication.
It's true.
It's going to be
unique.
Hard pressed to find a real libertarian talk show out there like this one. So if you like what we're doing, please get behind the AMP program like Teddy Graham. It's $5 a month. That gets you the silver level amplifier. You can do more if you want, but go to amp.freetalklive.com. You can sign up with PayPal. You can use credit card. You can use Bitcoin BTC. It's ampamp.freetalklive.com. And yes, you will get some cool perks as well, like access to the AMP-only call-in lines, AMP-only podcasts, AMP-only Facebook group. There's special chat rooms for you also on our Discord server. It's amp.freetalklive.com. Let's talk to Larry in Indianapolis, listening to WIBC. Hello, Larry. You're on with Ian and Mark.
How's it going, Mark and Ian?
Hey. What's on your mind?
Hey, I was going to say, how you doing, boys, but you said you don't want me to do that no more.
Oh, I'm happy to be called. I'm happy when you call me a boy, Larry. I'm fine with that. I don't have an issue with it.
Can I call you boy?
You can call me boy. You can't call Larry boy.
I just didn't want you to be hurt, right?
Thank you, sir.
In any case,
appreciate that.
Here in Indianapolis, a couple of Mondays ago, they codified that they will have certain teams go out when they have an arrest. An officer goes out to arrest somebody. The team goes out if it's a white professional. Maybe it's been caught breaking the law or something, or drunk driving, or maybe with a heroin needle in his arm. They go out, and the team determines whether he faces the justice system or gets turned to a diversion program before he even reaches court.
Really?
But now you can watch the city county council meeting from that time. I was there testifying. But if some color boy gets caught with 2 joints, he goes to jail immediately for a level 6 felony.
I've heard this critique.
A level 6 felony? Is this they're going to claim because he had 2 joints, he's intending to distribute them and give him a felony?
They accuse him of selling joints, joints, because there's people that sell 1 joint downtown. But the thing about it is, this is really bad, I know we have our meeting at the Concerned Clergy on Saturday mornings, and there's some plan going on to spend about $2 billion on a river project. Well, we suggested that they start right now training the workforce to build this thing. And, they acted like we were talking Chinese or something, but they would rather spend tens of millions of dollars. I think it's consuming 25% of our $643 million public safety budget to placate and hand out Narcan to junkies and not arrest them and take them to jail. I don't know what the end game is, but I think that money would be better spent on a training program so that these big capital projects that are coming up here in the city of Indianapolis can have a workforce trained to carry out that situation.
See, here's one of the problems with centralized government, and thank you, Larry, for the call tonight. I appreciate it. When you have a centralized government with a centralized pot, the budget that money coming into, you get a bunch of different interest groups who say, well, my interest is more important than your interest, and we need to make sure that gets funded, and we shouldn't be funding your interest because we need more money for my interest over here. And then the other interest group, of course, redoubles their efforts to try to fight for their portion of the budget, and then you just get neighbor versus neighbor, and things get ugly, and people get their feelings hurt. And
politics is a threat.
Yeah.
Right? Like, basically, it comes down to politics is a threat. I don't know whether Larry's right or wrong. He sounds so reasonable when he points it out there. I suspect, that's the case. You certainly need a trained workforce, and, whenever the government gets involved in any project, they're going to mess it up. That's what they do. They fail their way to more funding. Not success, mind you, just more funding.
Let's go to Stephen. He's in South Carolina, listening to WTMA in Charleston. Hello, Stephen.
Hello. Good evening.
Yes, sir.
I'm just wondering if the two of you would be in favor of legalizing heroin and meth.
Oh, absolutely. It's the only humane solution. Don't you agree?
No.
You don't? Hold on. We're kind of losing your signal. Are you on a cell phone right now?
I am.
Okay. Why is it you don't think all drugs should be legal?
Okay, well, just to say this, I've smoked pot before, so I understand that.
You what?
I think
you smoked pot? Is that what you said?
I have smoked pot before.
Okay.
I understand that. But,
damn it, I really want to hear what he has to say. I'm going to put him on hold here and see if I don't know if he's on like a speakerphone or something's going on. Your audio's clipping out. It doesn't sound like a signal dropout, but let's put him on hold with the board op, and we'll see if we can get him on a better line, because I really want to hear from folks as to what they think, because I know heroin's it's dangerous.
It's terrifying.
Right?
The whole idea that you would say heroin should be legal. But I will point out to the listening audience, this nation was built by people who had legal access to opioids. There are old heroin ads from like the Sears catalog, okay? And amphetamines, which is what meth is just a delivery system. Meth is a byproduct of the war on drugs.
Correct. Yeah.
Not to say that there wouldn't be more. I mean,
it's speed, right? It's like freebase speed.
Yeah,
isn't that right?
I mean, and so it's these sorts of things are probably results of the war on drugs. It's difficult to know whether they exist or not, but all in all, the fear is that people will just do heroin and stop working and become a drag on society and die.
Wait, they're not already doing that?
I think some of them are, but most of the reason they become a drag on society, my guess is because they can't actually work for the money to get heroin. You kind of have to. I don't know what heroin costs, but I suspect it is difficult.
It costs more than what it would if it were legal. I'll tell you that.
A lot more, I would suspect.
Stefan's back with us here. Apparently, he was on his speakerphone, so we have remedied hopefully this. Go ahead, Stefan, with your thoughts.
Hello, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
So far, yes.
Okay. Yeah, I've smoked pot before, so I'm not being hypocrite about that. But and I drink, and I used to smoke. I just think that as far as alcohol goes, that causes so many accidents a year.
Sure.
And I think adding more hallucinogens to the product line can't be helpful.
Well, heroin's not a hallucinogen, from what I understand.
I'm sorry, or
narcotic.
they affect your behavior.
Sure. I mean, all these drugs affect people's behavior, but is the goal of prohibition in your mind to stop people from using the drug?
No, I just think it's ridiculous to say that it's a good thing to legalize them.
Whoa. There's a difference between legalize and a good thing, okay? I believe that it's a bad idea to drink bleach, but I also think that you should be able to do it if that's what you want to do.
I agree.
If you have time, we can continue the discussion here, Stefan, because ultimately, if you're talking about continuing prohibition, you're talking about continuing to drive something underground into the hands of criminals as far as its distribution is concerned. As soon as you make something legal, it gets out of the hands of criminals and back into the hands of people who can actually care about their customers. There's more coming up here. It's Free Talk Live.
Pain in my neck, back, and shoulders has really gotten worse.
Relief for body pain is here with Sunny Bay heating pads.
Well, the last thing I want is to take another pill, so what's so good about Sunny Bay heating pads?
Sunny Bay heating pads, made by Biomed DB Design right here in the USA, come in all sizes. Our extra large microwavable heating pad for back pain is designed to be large enough to cover your entire back. It's also perfect to wrap around your legs, knees, or shoulder and neck.
But I need to know they're good quality.
Of course, Sunny Bay heating pads and pillows are often an Amazon choice, and it's easy and most affordable when you purchase your Sunny Bay heating pads right from our website, sunshinepillows.com, or call us 253-678-1361.
Hey, a Sunny Bay heating pad
would make a great gift, right?
Yes, and they start at just $19.99 and free shipping is available. So call 253-678-1361 or shop for your Sunny Bay heating pad at sunshinepillows.com.
Looking for a great real estate investment? Consider New Hampshire, which is ground zero for the Liberty Movement. Your first call should be to Mark Worden from Porcupine Real Estate. He's more than just a real estate agent. He's your New Hampshire concierge. Where are the best places to live? Do you want farm, city, the burbs, or forest? Do you want a duplex or multifamily building so that renters pay your mortgage? There are homes in all price ranges in New Hampshire, and Mark can help with financing too. Invest in liberty and property. Mark Worden can help.
PorcupineRealEstate.com.
Some of you asked, and now we've delivered. LRN.FM's live Keene, New Hampshire studio shows are now streamed in HD on Twitch. Visit our channel at twitch.lrn.fm and give it a follow. If you have Amazon Prime, you get one free subscription on Twitch. If you use it on our channel, Twitch will give LRN.FM a monthly piece of your Prime subscription cost. So please watch, follow, share, and subscribe to twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 2 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Darryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for the weekend of December 1st and 2nd, 2018. Silver is trading at $14.17 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,222 per ounce. Zen is trading at $7, and the average price of Bitcoin is $4,272. Antiwar.com reports aiming to support Kurdish offensives against the last few of the Islamic State towns in eastern Syria. The U.S. has been conducting heavy airstrikes against those towns near the Iraqi border. According to the Syrian Observatory for Human Rights, this is killing a lot of civilians and non-combatants. In addition to the Islamic State fighters, the observatory reported that Wednesday U.S. airstrikes against Al-Shafa also targeted a hospital, a prison, and several civilian homes. They reported 40 killed in those strikes, mainly prisoners, with the toll continuing to rise as more bodies are found in the rubble. Further airstrikes on Al-Shafa on Friday were reported by Syrian state media, who put the death toll on those strikes at 30, including some civilians and combatants. The exact split, as is so often the case, was unclear. This has been a recruiting problem with strikes against these towns. The Islamic State has a lot of fighters within, but the U.S. has little information on where they are and are often striking despite cloud cover, hitting virtually random parts of the city and killing a lot more civilians than the Islamic State fighters. You can support FPP Radio by shopping online. Whether you're looking for precious metals, bitcoins, or books, you'll find that and more at shop.fppradio.com. Every purchase you make from one of my affiliates at shop.fppradio.com helps fund FPP Radio. That's shop.fppradio.com. UPI reports a grand jury on Friday indicted a former Dallas police officer on a murder charge. She had fatally shot an unarmed man after she entered the wrong apartment. Police arrested Amber Geiger on a manslaughter charge after the September 6th shooting death of Botham Jean. The grand jury began hearing the case on Monday. Geiger was off duty at the time of the shooting, but was wearing her uniform when she entered Jean's apartment. She told police she thought she was in her own apartment. Police said Geiger had just finished a 15-hour shift and got off the elevator on the 4th floor instead of the 3rd floor where she lived. She then opened the door to Jean's apartment, which was unlocked. The lights were off inside, and when she saw a man's figure, she thought her apartment was being robbed and opened fire. When she turned the lights on, she realized she went into the wrong apartment and killed a man in his own home. The Dallas Police Department fired Geiger on September 24th after facing criticism for keeping her on the force amid an investigation. She was released from jail on $300,000 bond. Jean's family also filed a lawsuit against the city of Dallas and the Dallas Police Department, saying Geiger had a history of violence and excessive force. Zencash has changed their name to Horizon to better represent their transition from a cryptocurrency to a pioneering platform that protects consumer data. They are working towards the day when anyone will be able to build privacy-based applications on the Horizon platform. The unique spelling of Horizon is a nod to their heritage and recognizes that they remain committed to the vision that their project was built upon. Their coin and ticker symbol remain ZEN. Learn more at horizon.global and join the Horizon community. HORIZEN.global. Reuters reports a federal judge in New York ruled on Friday the Trump administration cannot compel states and cities to cooperate with federal immigration authorities as a condition for receiving millions of dollars in federal law enforcement funds. The ruling by U.S. District Judge Edgardo Ramos in Manhattan is a victory for New York City and the states of New York, Connecticut, Massachusetts, New Jersey, Virginia, and Washington, which had sued the administration over the conditions in July. Ramos is at least the fourth federal judge to rule against President Donald Trump's administration on the issue. Ramos ordered the administration to award the funds without condition. New York Attorney General Barbara Underwood said in a statement, "Today's decision is a major win for the New Yorkers' public safety." The U.S. Department of Justice could not immediately be reached for comment. The lawsuits concern the Edward Byrne Memorial Justice Assistance Grants, which provide federal funds for state and local law enforcement. The Trump administration announced last year that to receive funding, state and local governments must give federal immigration authorities access to their jails and advance notice of immigrants released from custody. Federal judges in Pennsylvania, California, and Illinois have already ruled against the policy. The 7th U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals has upheld the Illinois ruling, finding that Congress and not the administration has the authority to decide how funds are spent. You can support FPP Radio by joining the Fans program. To learn more or to join the Fans program, visit fans.fppradio.com. That's fans.fppradio.com. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.
In a dramatic scene last night, a coalition of the nation's damaged women staged a drunken, tear-soaked march on the Capitol just after 2 a.m. Jane Carmichael has more.
Thank you, Brooke. The damaged women began their protest yesterday afternoon, marching on the National Mall at about 4 p.m., and then marching away furious, saying they were done with Congress once and for all. But then they came back again late last night, insisting that someone in Washington listen to them for once. The late-night protests started with tearful apologies, but quickly moved to anger as marchers demanded that Congress pass a bill making it illegal to say you love someone and then up and leave as soon as there's one little problem.
Why are you ignoring us? Stop ignoring us! Why don't you hear me when I talk to you? Wipe the smirk off of your face. No, come back! Come back because we think that we want you to care about us.
I don't need to pay a therapist to tell me I'm unhappy! I know I'm unhappy!
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
This is Free Talk Live. We're launching into the second hour here of yet another live Saturday edition of the show with you tonight. It's Ian.
And Mark.
Starting out the show earlier tonight, we talked about the big news out of Massachusetts, first state east of the Mississippi in the United States to implement the actual legal recreational sale of cannabis. Maine's supposed to do it, but they're dragging their feet there even longer than Massachusetts. Vermont did legalize, but not. They did not legalize recreational sale. It's only possession. You can gift it. You can grow it in Vermont, but you cannot actually open a storefront to sell it at this time there. So Massachusetts did it first, and $2.2 million worth was purchased over a 5-day, the initial 5 days that those stores were open. If you want to comment, you're welcome to join us here. It's led to a larger discussion about the war on drugs in general, because the war on marijuana was probably the largest part of the war on drugs. Marijuana, it's big, it's bulky, it's hard to, or it's easy to find, especially with a dog's help. So running that particular war was a pretty easy thing for the government to do. They still never stopped marijuana. They, might interdict a shipment or two here or there, but ultimately they never stopped the true continued flow of the plant into the United States, even from outside of the border, let alone the cannabis that's been grown inside. And of course, now that there's legal marijuana in so many states, there's plenty of legal supply that manages to leak out of the legal system, even though there's a bunch of stringent controls on it. They, for instance, they have to tag the plants, I think, in most of the states with like RFID tags. So they're chipping all the marijuana plants, basically, just for inventory control purposes. But, if there's one bud that gets snipped off over here that falls in a different bucket, it's hard you don't really know how much marijuana one plant's going to grow. You can kind of estimate generally based on the size how much you can expect, but you never really know until it's done.
Some plants are more prolific than others.
So there are going to be ways for things to still float out of an even, very tightly regulated and controlled system, and that's what's happening. So marijuana is more prevalent now, I would say, as far as its quality is concerned. It's always been prevalent, but the quality of it, even in the black market, has been improved because of the legal marijuana states. So that's good news. It's good news all over the place. But again, it led Stefan in South Carolina here listening to WTMA to ask a bigger question, which is to say, do we here on Free Talk Live support the legalization of other drugs like heroin or methamphetamine? And as we pointed out, or as I was asking you, Stefan, before we had to go to our news break there, is, if you want to continue the war on these particular drugs simply because they may be more dangerous in certain ways or perhaps more addictive, the question is begged, that is, what is the purpose of prohibition? Is it to stop people from using these drugs?
I think it is, but I'm a conservative, but I do not believe this war on drugs is a winnable thing.
Okay,
it's an untenable situation.
Agreed.
However, I just do not think that legalizing it makes it any better.
What is the other option? You either have a war or you don't. What are you proposing, or what do you think the third option is here?
Well, in Colorado, as you know, they've had more auto accidents because of marijuana.
Oh, I don't know. I question those statistics. A lot of those statistics, marijuana-related auto accident, could be somebody had an accident and there was a bag of marijuana in the car. Or it doesn't mean the person was high while driving.
Or they took a blood test and the person had smoked marijuana within the last week.
Yeah.
If we called every accident where somebody got into an accident within 14 days of consuming alcohol, an alcohol-related accident, almost all accidents would be alcohol-related.
Right. Alcohol-related accident
Agreed.
can also include somebody who is a passenger who was drunk. So even if there was an accident and the driver was completely sober and the other driver was completely sober, it would still be chalked up as alcohol-related simply because the other person in the car who wasn't driving had some alcohol. So you got to question those statistics. But even so, let's accept that, let's say the statistic is true, that accidents have gone up. Do you believe that there are a statistically significant number of people who are buying marijuana now in Colorado, now that it's legal, over the last, 6 years now? 5-6 years? Do you believe that there's a statistically significant portion of the population there that's buying marijuana who never bought it before it was made legal?
Oh, probably. Yeah.
You think there is? What do you think that portion is?
Oh, well, I'm sorry. Who never bought it before? No, it's pretty low.
Right, because most people who want to buy a thing are going to buy the thing whether it's prohibited or not. And most of the people who were standing in that line in Massachusetts that I went down to experience last week, certainly, at least the ones that I was standing around and talking to, were old hats at smoking cannabis. You yourself admitted you've used it, even though it's not legal there in South Carolina, and I suspect it wasn't legal wherever it was that you used it. So the idea that there's more drivers who are using cannabis in Colorado, I don't buy it. Now, maybe you could argue that the marijuana tourism is bringing more people into the state, and so therefore there may be statistically more drivers on the roads. But as far as the the normal people of Colorado, they were smoking pot and driving before it was legalized.
Okay, I agree. I think maybe the best thing to do is let time bear on. Just give it 10 or 20 years, and see how it goes.
Well, that's definitely going to happen because there's nobody who's going to politically propose the legalization of heroin anytime soon.
I doubt very seriously that Free Talk Live's power on the airwaves is suddenly going to get crack legal tomorrow. And by the way, I don't advocate for the use of any of this stuff.
Well, I mean, if it's necessary medically, heroin's a good painkiller.
Wait a second. I've been given prescriptions for opioids, and I won't use them.
Yeah, sure.
Because
you don't want to get hooked on it.
Yeah, I find that stuff to be too dangerous. Then again,
right.
I mean, if you get the pain and you need to do it, it's nice to have it. But I think that probably 1/10 of the people who are prescribed opioids needed them.
Yeah, Stefan.
Can I say one last thing?
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
As a ham radio operator, I just want to say CQ to you.
That's CQ is like where you're opening a conversation, right? Or is that hello? Is it goodbye, or is it both?
It's hello.
Well, how do you say goodbye in ham radio speak?
QSO.
QSO, Stefan. Thanks for the call. So that's just. I get it. There's a lot of emotion that's pent up in these heroin, methamphetamine, especially if you've had a family member who has had an addiction. There's a lot of emotion. There's a lot of problems that have happened in people's lives. But the fact is, all that happened under Prohibition, and in the absence of Prohibition, there will be more options for these people to get help. There'll be more. They're less afraid to go and get help. We've seen that happening in Portugal, where for now more than 15 years they've had all recreational drugs have been legal to possess or decriminalized all the way, basically, to possess small amounts of basically any recreational drug. So heroin, methamphetamine, LSD, you name it. It's legal to possess a small amount of it in Portugal. And you know what happened? Like almost overnight, very quickly, the number of dying addicts went down because they were able to get help in a way that they were never able to before. The stigma
It's
wasn't
worth pointing out that Portugal doesn't have it has decriminalized drugs.
Correct.
It doesn't have legal drugs, so you can't
Unfortunately,
go
it does
to some store and buy heroin or crack. And we don't know at this point what that's going to what the results of that would be.
Oh, I'll tell you what some of the results would be. The results would be the people buying heroin or crack or whatever at the store would actually get clean product that was manufactured in, quality standards in a clean manufacturing environment instead of being boiled up in somebody's back shed or in a bathroom or something like that. You've got an actual clean room where people are going in, they're sterilizing themselves, they're doing whatever they need to do to make
dosages would be people wouldn't be getting fentanyl when they think they're getting heroin.
Right.
They would understand their dosage a little better.
All of the issues that create overdose. Basically would go away, with the exception of intentional overdose, because most overdose in the world of heroin or illegal drugs like this are unintentional. The person did not intend to kill themselves. They did not intend to overdose. They accidentally overdose. 9 out of 10 of them are like that. It's very, very rare that somebody will actually, I want to kill myself. Well, in that case, you can't stop that, right? Because you can go buy a bottle of aspirin right now and do the exact same thing.
Yeah, it's a really terrible way to go.
More coming up here in moments. You can take control of the airwaves at 855-450 free.
She seems happier. Her fur is so much shinier, silkier, softer. She has really mellowed a lot.
Sheba is 105 lean pounds of shiny, smooth, happy dog for life.
The shedding has stopped. The itching has stopped.
Since 2001, we've helped more than 250,000 dogs get over their nutritional deficiency miseries.
And saved our customers bazillions in vet bills.
Everything we tried failed except the Dynovite.
Come to Dynovite for help.
DINOVITE.com.
If you want the dog to be healthy, you got to feed it something healthy.
The omega-3 fatty acids, flaxseed, zinc, alfalfa, the digestive enzymes that are cooked out of regular dog food. Dynovite is nutrition.
Dynovite for life.
Don't let your dog itch, scratch, stink, or shed like crazy.
Come to Dynovite for help.
859-428-1000.
859-428-1000.
DINOVITE.com.
Are you a cryptocurrency advocate? The Crypto Tip is the ideal outreach tool to help new people discover cryptocurrency. It's a printable business card-sized tip that you can give to service providers, preferably in addition to a good cash tip. When the server scans the QR code, it'll bring up an explanation of cryptocurrency, how to install a wallet, and allow them to claim the tip. If they don't claim the crypto, you get your tip refunded to you after a time period you specify. Plus, if they do claim the tip, you get an email alert. Create as many tips as you want at cryptotip.org. That's cryptotip.org.
Bitcoin.com is delighted to announce their latest partnership with the gift card specialists at eGifter. With many of the world's leading brands on their roster, it is now easier than ever to get the gift cards of your favorite brands with Bitcoin Cash. To get started, just follow these simple steps. Visit giftcards.bitcoin.com, pick the gift card you want, follow the instructions on your screen, and make your payment using your Bitcoin Cash wallet. Sit tight and your gift card will be delivered to you as soon as it's ready. That's giftcards.bitcoin.com.
A new study finds most high school graduates are woefully unprepared for high school, and a bag of flour has a slave auction on its front. This is the Onion Week in Review. This week, Secretary of Labor Thomas Perez unveiled plans to boost the nation's struggling job market by giving every unemployed American a self-serve yogurt shop. Saying that the frozen yogurt business model is robust, profitable, and that they've pretty much exhausted other options, Perez explained that owners will be responsible for stocking their own topping bars with items such as Oreo crumbles, minced kiwi, cashews, and gummy bears. Estimates indicate the country will need to increase daily consumption of frozen yogurt by approximately 2.3 gallons per person in order for the new stores to remain solvent. And in this week's local news, something is apparently going on between a mom and her friend. In other news, Taco Bell warns its employees against ever exposing their skin to its food. A sad man tears 2 bananas off of a larger bunch, and a new report finds everything you've ever wanted has been right in front of you all along.
This is the Onion News Network.
So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM.
Are you tired of governments murdering people around the world? Stop using their money. There is an alternative. Bitcoin is a stateless, free market, non-political currency. Bitcoin cannot be inflated or controlled by any government. By using their money, you are helping the state. Stop doing it! You have an incredible alternative available now. Learn it, use it, spread it. Get started with Bitcoin at bitcoin.com. That's bitcoin.com.
This is the Liberty Radio Network, broadcasting the latest liberty-oriented audio content 24 hours a day at LRN.FM.
It's Free Talk Live. You can dial in toll-free here to bring up whatever is on your mind. Our number is 855-450-FREE. Live Saturday edition continuing, 855-450-3733. We've also got the Discord on-air call-in line rooms over at discord.lrn.fm. That's where you can go to sound almost like you're sitting here in the studio with us. And we were talking about the historic beginnings in Massachusetts last week on Tuesday, Green Tuesday, just a few days before Black Friday, where cannabis was, I didn't come up with that one, Mark, where cannabis was legalized for recreational purchase. 2 stores opened up, and in their first 5 days, both stores brought in a total of $2.2 million. Now,
that's a lot of sales.
A lot of money. In fact, according to
a lot of people in retail wish they could have those kind of numbers. Yeah.
Well, according to Boston Globe here, sales revenue was highest on Black Friday. So right after Thanksgiving, they were closed on Thanksgiving. So it was Tuesday, Wednesday, closed Thursday, Friday, Saturday. That's where these numbers are.
I'd also like to say to all the states out there where I advised you ahead of time, when it was even before Colorado went and did this, but I advised you,
big money.
There's a lot of revenue the table, and now who's getting it? Crappy old Massachusetts getting that revenue, and your state could get it too, but instead people are, traveling to another state to spend their money. Do you want politicians?
We were in line with people from Connecticut.
Yeah.
Who'd driven up there. The couple right behind me had gotten a hotel room. So it's bringing extra revenue in other businesses into Massachusetts as well. They're going to eat. They got the munchies. They're going to go stop off at, some cafe or whatever, cafeteria, and, they're going to eat. Restaurant.
Absolutely. They're spending money, and this could be happening in your community, but instead it's not. And you're complaining about the wasteland that it is regarding meth and heroin and whatever drug is laying waste to your community. But here it is. Marijuana is making people happy. That's making people healthier, and it is making communities wealthier.
And a bunch of money is going into the coffers of the state.
I was just in Denver a few weeks ago, and their train station has been completely redone in the last few years. I wonder where the money came from to do that. It's a train station, people.
Nobody goes on trains, right?
But I mean, it's very busy. They basically turned it into this sort of upscale bar, coffee shop kind of mall thing. And there's certainly people who are on trains, but it's a pretty economically inefficient model for transportation, as neat as it is.
So if you do the math here, and they didn't bother to do the math in the article at the Boston Globe, but $2.2 million, that's the revenue. So 20% of that, given that the taxes are 20%, that's almost $500,000.
$500,000
taxes
wasted on crap in Massachusetts.
Yeah. And that's in the first 5 days. Sales revenue was highest on the Friday, where
whatever state you're in, your state government is more efficient than Massachusetts's, simply because it's smaller.
Where apparently on the Black Friday, both stores, again just 2 stores combined, brought in almost $500,000, so $480,000 in just one day, selling through 12,199 items like packs of pre-rolled joints, bottles of marijuana concentrate, and chocolate bars. The stores then sold the largest number of products on Saturday, with over 12,593 products sold for about $468,000. Imagine $250,000 in revenue per day.
I know
nonstop.
In retail, $1,000 day is usually considered a pretty good day. Obviously, there's some different retail businesses.
Now, this is revenue.
It's not going to work for a car dealership.
So it's revenue. This isn't profit. There's $250,000 in one day.
This is
revenue.
a plant that they call a weed.
Yeah.
It grows pretty cheaply.
There's a lot of profit they're making. That's for sure.
Right. Obviously, you can.
It's probably at least 50%.
There's
the
lights and all that other stuff. But as the efficiency increases in this marketplace, it's going to be cheaper. It's just produce, people.
Yeah, exactly right. So we can go to your calls and thoughts here, but big numbers here for the very first week of cannabis sales legally in Massachusetts. Let's go to John. He's in Indianapolis listening to WIBC FM. Hello, John.
Hey, how you doing?
Hey, what's on your mind tonight?
I wanted to mention the University of Iowa was contracted by the NTSB here a couple years ago to do a study. I guess they've got this really advanced simulator on the effects of marijuana on driving a car.
Okay.
And it was determined that there was absolutely no effect whatsoever, no adverse effect whatsoever.
Wow.
As a result of smoking marijuana.
Now, we had heard that in the past out of the Australian Department of Transportation that was either statistically insignificant or not even noticeable as far as the effects.
Well, what my understanding of it was is that a certain amount of smoking marijuana, there's no effect. But then at some point you become too stoned, and then usually people know. As opposed to people who have drank alcohol, they suddenly think they're Mario Andretti. People who've smoked too much marijuana say to themselves, hey, man, I probably shouldn't get on the road.
Go ahead. What the study showed was that it did seem to increase the effects of alcohol when used in conjunction with.
Yeah.
But on its own, cannabis had no or negligible effect on driving.
Yeah, so what Mark's referencing is, I don't know if it was a real scientific study that was done, but there was I think it was Washington State or Oregon, I forget which one it was, but one of the states where legalization was, pretty early on. It was a TV station that did kind of their own study. They had a closed course track set up, with cones or whatever, and they had cars and the drivers, and they would give the driver alcohol, and they would give the driver cannabis on separate occasions. And then they would, continue to give them these. So they gave them like one toke of cannabis, had them drive the course. They give them another toke, had them drive the course. That kind of thing. So they kept building up the amount that they would take. And the same thing with alcohol. They'd give them one shot or one beer or whatever and have them drive, and then so on and so forth. And that was where they observed the attitude of the person toward driving. Once they got to a certain point of effect, then the cannabis users were like, I don't feel like I should be driving right now. Whereas the alcohol was like, yeah, give me the keys. Right. Let's hit the road.
Let's see if we get this baby up on 2 wheels.
So yeah, the cannabis users seem to be more aware. If there is an impairment, they are more aware that they do have the potential for being impaired. But what you're saying here, John, is at the very least in this NTSB study, they didn't notice any kind of impairment. Now, again, we don't know how they did the study.
Well, I know from it's all, you can look it up online. It's really easy to find. All the information is there. But I find I prefer to smoke over drinking because I do prefer to maintain control of my motor functions and and my decision making skills. Whereas with alcohol, I can't.
Past a certain point, you definitely can't. Thank you for the call, John.
All out the window.
I appreciate it, man. Toll-free number here tonight, 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Now, studies like that certainly seem to fly in the face of common sense. I'm sure there are a lot of people who are recoiling at hearing that news.
Sure. If somebody comes to my house and, is smoking marijuana the whole time and then, is rolling out of the driveway and runs over my dog, I'm going to blame emotionally the marijuana to some extent. I'm going to feel that person was irresponsible in that circumstance. So I say, driving's a dangerous activity. You shouldn't be inebriated anyway.
We got more coming up with your calls and thoughts. Our toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. But how many people are driving after popping some prescription pills?
Ted Anderson telling you about Jordan Rubin's Beyond Organic Green-Fed Raw Cheddar Artesian Cheese featuring whole milk created through ancient dairy breeding, unpasteurized, untreated whole milk on the same farm the cows graze, containing natural sources of omega-3s, CLA protein, calcium, probiotics, and enzymes. I have never tasted cheese this good, and you need to try it. Contact your Longevity distributor or call 877-878-4203 or go to gcnteam.com.
Want revenge on the common housefly? Well, after 10,000 years, someone has finally come up with a better way. The Bug Assault, a miniaturized shotgun, which utilizes ordinary table salt as ammunition. Non-toxic and no batteries required. So much fun, you'll forget you have a wife and kids. Makes the perfect stocking stuffer. Get your Bug Assault today and save $10 on the Bug Beam Laser Combo, only at bugassault.com.
Since time began, tyrants have taken aim at personal liberties. Now there's a movie that aims back.
The government has no more right to tell us what to put in our bodies than they have to take our guns or tell us what books we can read.
6 drug police were eaten by bears while raiding a marijuana farm.
On your knees, you dirty hippie! Jesus. On your knees! What's the problem, officer?
Today, many cops who enforce pot laws do so only because it provides them with cushy jobs, good benefits, and a chance to push people around.
I was an undercover narcotics officer. The drug war is nothing but a farce.
The Second Amendment says you gotta keep you and your get intact.
Guns and Weed, The Road to Freedom. A film by Michael W. Dean and Nima Vadadi.
DVD available now at gunsandweed.com or on Amazon. That's gunsandweed.com. Makes the perfect gift. Remember, that's gunsandweed.com.
I love My Magic Mud. I drink a lot of coffee. I had stains on my teeth. Then I found My Magic Mud, and I was told it would remove stains. So I paid attention when I brushed the first time. My Magic Mud is black tooth powder, and the difference it made in my teeth in one application was noticeable. With 4, my teeth were as white as you normal folks out there. Please go to mymagicmud.com and buy a jar. There's 150 applications for $25. You can use Bitcoin, mymagicmud.com.
LRN.FM is proud to announce our official listening apps for Android and iOS devices. Now you can easily tune into our streams anywhere, anytime on your smartphone or tablet. Just visit apps.lrn.fm or search for LRN.FM in the Android or Apple app stores. Please download, rate us 5 stars, then share the link on your social media, and let your friends and family know how you're listening to LRN.FM. Download it now, free at apps.lrn.fm.
The warning signs.
First, he made me feel special. He promised he'd look after me, provide for my future. He broke every promise he made.
Millions of Americans afflicted.
I was ready to leave, but he told me he'd change. So I gave him another chance. I was such a fool.
The consequences.
Things only got worse. He started making my decisions for me. About my job, my kids' education, my money, my safety, my future. He took away my choices, but I kept going back to the same politicians.
The diagnosis? Battered voter syndrome.
I fell for the same old lies. They were just playing with my emotions, telling me what I wanted to hear. That's not right.
If you're tired of the two-party system but want to support a principled Libertarian Party, check out the Libertarian Party of New Hampshire at lpnh.org. That's lpnh.org.
You can sign up to receive the latest about the Liberty Radio Network via our email updates at updates.lrn.fm. That's updates.lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live. You dial in toll free, you bring up whatever you want here. Live Saturday edition continues as we talk about the end of Prohibition. It's the beginning of the end of Prohibition. Although, of course, there's still people out there calling for new prohibitions, like, we should prohibit cigarettes, nicotine. They're right here in Keene, New Hampshire. Sure. They're talking about prohibiting the possession of nicotine products, including e-cigarettes, vapes, things like that, from people 18, 19, and 20. So the prohibitionist mindset has not been eradicated. It's just that on the, at the very least, issue of cannabis, people are starting to see some level of sense at this point. So I wish we could talk about legalizing everything else, but unfortunately, very few politicians are going to go out on that limb anytime soon.
Right. I think tobacco is the deadliest and worst drug that is out there.
You say this as a former smoker.
I'm a former smoker. I stopped in like 2009 using Chantix for those that care. And obviously, I think vaping is better than tobacco because, well, I've got some sense in my head. Mm-hmm. But trying to prohibit it, laws, it just doesn't work. I mean, prohibitionists, you got to realize it just doesn't work that well. What works is making tobacco uncool. That's what you got to do. You got to make it uncool. You got to talk to your kids. You got to explain to them why it's a dumb idea. What there's just no benefit to this, and that there's alternatives of things that they could do if they wanted to. Like if you want to vape, you can vape without consuming nicotine. What's the point of consuming nicotine? Exactly.
Get a little head rush.
Yeah, it's yucky.
It doesn't last very long.
No, it's the dumbest of drugs. If you're looking for some kind of mind altering thing, tobacco's it's just awful.
Yeah,
people.
There's not a real lot of upsides to it.
It's a worldwide killer. It's a terrible thing. These are much better arguments than, well, let's put cops out there looking to see whether or not somebody is 18, 19, or 20, has cigarettes. Well, the problem with that is that police can't exactly tell how old you are. So now you have cops running around trying to get IDs out of people and, figure out who's who and, what's what. And it's just an opportunity for your constitutional rights, your privacy to be eroded a bit more. And to what end? Are you really going to scare kids from out of trying nicotine with your new fancy dancy law?
Mm-hmm.
That's what you're going to do? Because it didn't stop.
That's not going to work. No.
It didn't stop you, and it didn't stop your friends. Most people who smoke now started smoking before they were 18.
Yep, that's true. My ex-girlfriend, when she was a teenager, was a smoker illegally.
They illegally bought, they illegally possessed cigarettes.
Managed to find somebody to buy them cigarettes every single day, basically, or as often as they could, right? So they keep the habit going.
Raising the age is not going to be effective. There are very, very few smokers who started after the age of 18.
Yeah, it's
as a percentage.
It's nothing more than a feel-good measure that's going to result in the politicians being able to claim they did something.
Right. We made the world a better place by harassing the crap out of people.
Let's go to your calls and thoughts. We got Vernon. He's on the line in New Orleans. You're on Free Talk Live with Ian and Mark. Vernon in New Orleans. Going once. Vernon in New Orleans. Going twice.
Hi, sorry about that.
Hey.
Yesterday we were talking about. Hey, sorry about that. Yesterday we were talking about the generosity of people. And first, I'd like to point out that I am not an advocate of government funding. And secondly, I wanted to correct you. When I got dumped yesterday, you had mentioned that most homeless shelters are ran by the government, which I wanted to correct you on. I think most homeless shelters are nonprofit entities, but they receive government funding.
Mm-hmm.
But because of lack of government funding or even lack of donations, really, there aren't usually enough beds for the homeless. And so I just wanted to point those two things out, and also say that I don't view mankind as, not generous. I know that everybody is very generous. I think my point, and maybe I didn't clearly state it yesterday, was more or less, is there enough generosity to support those that are on welfare? And again, I am not talking about a replacement for welfare.
Well, not everybody on welfare should be on welfare, right?
I agree with you.
Right. So if we're talking about is there enough generosity to support the people who actually need help, I say yes.
Yeah, so there's a local homeless shelter that I support every single year. Christmas time, I give them some money.
A privately run.
And it's privately run.
Shelter, yeah.
And what their policy is they only open for the evenings, and they only open the 100 coldest nights of the year, or about that. And they kick everybody out the door at 7 a.m., as opposed to one of the state-run programs that I've heard about,
or state-funded, or whatever it is.
Well, whatever it is, that where they are given a place to live, and they can sleep till noon or 2 o'clock if they feel like it. Well, you're not going to get a lot of job. Yeah, you're not going to get a lot of job applications if you're sleeping in till 2 p. And that. We're always looking to respect the dignity of folks like this. Well, that doesn't. It has bad results.
If you're talking about halfway houses, then they maybe on a Sunday they're able to sleep in till 2. But most halfway houses, even if they receive government funding, require that you not only be clean and be drug tested randomly, but you also have to either be seeking employment or you have to be employed within a certain amount of time or you get kicked out.
Well, these are called homeless shelters. I don't know if there's a difference between a halfway house and a homeless shelter, but as I understand it, these are homeless shelters that Mark is talking about.
Like Mark had said, most homeless shelters will allow you to come in 6, 7 o'clock in the evening, and then they expect you out by 6 or 7 in the morning.
Well, that's not how it works. The homeless shelters here, from what I understand, you get a room. And you can stay in that room, and that's your room.
Now, you're not likely to get it because there's a lot of people who are going to continue to stay in that room, and they're going to continue to make it difficult for the next person to come along who needs it because there's only a certain amount of beds. But once you get the bed, you're in like Flynn. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, well, of course, a lot of these programs, government programs, pay out based on the number of people, right? So I don't know if that's how this works, but that's how a lot of government programs, whether
my whole point, just to close again, is if I get in line at 2 or 3 in the afternoon and there's already a long line and I'm not offered a bed there, to me that kind of shows that the charitable, yes, there is charity there and people are giving, but there may not be enough to sustain the demand. Then that's all I'm trying to say.
The fear about what you think might not happen or might not happen is not justification to threaten your neighbors with violence. And he had said he doesn't support government funding, but yet on the other hand...
We did drop him, by the way.
I know, he hung up. He says on one hand he doesn't support government funding, but on the other hand, here he is wondering and worrying that people won't step up to take care of their neighbors.
I have no idea, but I do know that when you create a system where people can choose not to work, some people will choose not to work, right? Like you create incentives, and the better that system is, i.e. the better funded that system is, and the more features and benefits that system has, the more people will choose to use that system. Yeah. It ought to be uncomfortable as hell to not have a job, not work, and be homeless. It ought to be really uncomfortable. And I look, I give every year to this homeless shelter because I think they do it right.
And you're somebody, by the way, used to really attack homeless people.
I really don't like
years ago, back when we were in Florida.
I spent 8.5 years in prison, and I've worked my way up to a successful life. I'm relatively certain that if you've got a sound mind and a sound body, that you've got no friggin' excuse to be homeless, especially as a male. That's just the way I see it. To me, what I see the problem there must be mental illness. It must be drug abuse. It must be laziness. I don't know what it is, but those are the things that I see.
Incentives change how people behave.
And you're never going to convince me otherwise, because I have been in the lowest socioeconomic class on the planet. As a prisoner, I spent my life being at the bottom, and I figured out how to claw my way up. And I got news for you. Go to work, smile, stop doing drugs till you pass out.
Show up on time. That helps.
It's not that hard. String together a few good decisions, and you're going to have a pretty good week. Continue to string them together for a few years, and man, things are going to look up. And most of the decisions are financial. Most of these good decisions, it's just financial.
Right.
It's putting off.
Don't shop at Rent-A-Center.
It's putting off the thing you want today for something that you can have in the future.
More coming
Every
up here.
dollar you spend now is $10 for your retirement.
Toll-free number here, 855-450-FREE, 855-450-3733. It's Free Talk Live.
Does your dog itch, scratch, stink, or shed like crazy? Come to Dynavite for help.
Order a 90-day supply of Dynavite.
Dynavite for life. Pick up 2 tubes of Doggo Suds.
Get the 3rd tube free.
Peppermint, tea tree, lavender, Doggo Sud shampoo.
Made with all-natural coconut, jojoba, aloe. Great for healthy skin and soft, shiny coats.
But no itchy, harsh chemicals.
Lather up, rinse away.
Try Doggo Suds. Buy 2, get 1 free.
At Dynavite.com.
DINOVITE.com.
There are basically 2 types of advertising, direct response and branding. Radio's great for direct response with its low cost to listener ratio, but audio can't be beat for branding, which is a longer term endeavor. You want to be the first thing that someone thinks of when they think about your product or service. If you have a local business that you want kept top of mind in your community, call the station. If you need national reach, Free Talk Live's got around 200 radio stations, millions of monthly listening sessions, can suit all budgets, and if we don't think we're right for you, we'll tell you. Email me, mark@freetalklive.com.
Are you afraid to go to the mailbox because of letter after letter from the IRS? Are they stacking on more and more penalties and interest? By now, you know the problem won't go away on its own. Don't let the IRS chase you to your grave with penalties and interest and liens and levies. You need real help now. I'm Dan Pilla. I wrote the book on tax debt settlement, and I help thousands of people solve tax problems they thought couldn't be solved. I can help you too. Call 800-34-NO-TAX or go to my website, danpilla.com. That's danpilla.com. danpilla.com.
Water is the single most important thing your body needs, so you want to be sure it's the purest for you and your family. For over 14 years, thousands have depended on Berkey Clean Water. The Berkey guy has you covered at home, work, and on the go. With water filtration systems of every size for every budget. Now GCN listeners receive 10% off ceramic filter systems using code GCN at goberkey.com or call 877-886-3653. Goberkey.com.
Why did you move to the Shire?
I moved here to the Shire because there's other people around who take liberty just as seriously as I do.
I moved to the Shire because I saw videos of people challenging authority and thought that I could get support myself. It called to me, like, do this, right now.
I wanted to be around people like me who got it, and once I got here, I knew there was nowhere else that I wanted to be.
I've always wanted to change the world, so I moved to the Shire to join people who were actually working towards doing the same thing.
The people here are awesome, loving, and positive. It was for the adventure and for the feeling of something important is happening here, and I just wanted to come to sort of be part of that.
Visit ShireSociety.com to read and sign the Shire Society Declaration and learn the reasons why, if you love liberty, you should immigrate to the Shire. Plus, connect with others via the forum at ShireSociety.com. That's ShireSociety.com. There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and one with just the Edgington Post. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com. So you've signed the Shire Society Declaration and are planning your move to New Hampshire to be around more liberty-oriented people. Next, sign up for the Shire Society Forum at forum.shiresociety.com. There are a bunch of people there who are already in the Shire, and they want to meet you. If you're already in the Shire physically, you should also come by the forums. Remember, not everyone uses Facebook. New people are signing up for the Shire Society Forum every month, so drop in and say hello at forum.shiresociety.com.
What's up next? Visit the Liberty Radio Network program guide to find out at shows.lrn.fm. That's shows.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live, and we invite you to join us right here. Toll-free number for you is 855-450-FREE. You know, a lot of libertarians got to know Tom Woods during the Ron Paul campaigns of 2008 and 2012. Tom is a New York Times best-selling author. He's written over a dozen books, including The Politically Incorrect Guide to American History. And since September of 2013, Tom Woods has been putting out his own show, The Tom Woods Show, every weekday, which means he's got over 1,200 episodes so far. Guests like Ron Paul, Judge Andrew Napolitano, David Stockman, and hundreds more topics of interest to libertarians, maybe like you, over at TomWoods.com, or search for Tom Woods Show in your favorite podcatcher. Let's go to the phones and to the Discord on-air call-in line room. We've got Wikawea on the line. Hello there.
Hi there.
Hey.
I just wanted to pick up briefly on the point that Mark just made about it not being that hard, like clawing your way up from the kind of the lowest.
Well, nobody said it was
status.
easy. I don't think you said it was not that hard. It's simple. It's not necessarily easy, right? Like to do things like get up on time, make it to work on time, smile. These aren't necessarily complicated things to do. They're simple. But I can tell you one thing. It's hard for me to get up on time sometimes. It's a challenge.
Yeah, but then why then do such enormous numbers of people fail to do it? Some people would say, I don't know if you know Peter Hitchens in the US, but he would just blame everything on drugs. But I don't think it's just drugs or upbringing or, some vague thing about mental health. I just think that's kind of probably deeply ingrained in human nature, that people cannot be that disciplined to live like that over many years to pull themselves out of kind of poverty or whatever they're in. I would say, why do you think so many people fail?
Well, for one, we have systems in place that incentivize failure, right? Like, yes.
Like welfare.
Well, honestly, that's it. Like if you're getting welfare, mothers and children's and Section 8 and all these other forms of assistance, basically the better you do, the less of those programs, the fewer of those programs you're going to get. And so success is not going to result in any benefit to you, so you don't try for success.
Len, you can't also necessarily just blame it on welfare programs, because some parents act like a welfare program, right? So you got the man-child problem, where people in their 30s are living in their parents' basement.
People use Paris Hilton as an example of this, is that her father made a great deal of money. Now, I don't know Paris Hilton, and I would not claim, I have not done a biographical study on Paris Hilton. This is not about her. But if you look at the archetype of what you see there, is that
spoiled brat.
Right. It's a spoiled brat who's getting by on their looks and money. Yeah. And that, it's not pretty. It's an ugly system, but that's, it's to some extent she's spending, at the very least she's spending money, and the people who are getting the money that she's spending are able to feed their families and continue on with life and that kind of thing.
Right, whether it's the parents who are going to coddle and helicopter over their child until, to make sure they don't fall, whether if it's at that level of incentive or if it's at the level of the welfare system incentive, it is really all about the incentives surrounding a person as far as how they behave.
I saw some study on like 4-year-olds that were put in front of some candy and told if they could have a piece of candy now, or they could wait like 60 seconds and they'd get 2 pieces of candy, and then they just had to look at the candy for 60 seconds. And the kids that were able to wait 60 seconds to get 2 pieces of candy went on to have pretty good lives. It's all about gratification. And
wait, they actually did a study over years? They looked at them when they were very young, and then later on, 20 years or however many years later?
They looked at them later on, supposedly, and that this is what makes the difference, is the ability to
willpower, self-control,
to put off gratification for a period of time. And honestly, once you get to a certain level of earning, what difference does it make? I mean, so now you can spend $1,000 a night at a restaurant as opposed to spending $20 a night at a restaurant. Now you can drive a $300,000 car as opposed to a $20,000 car. Now you can ride in a private jet as opposed to flying coach on Southwest or whatever. I mean, none of those things seem like huge upgrades to me, but then again, I suppose I won't have those things either.
Wicked Wheel.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is totally mostly about incentives. Actually, I didn't even think of that when I was calling. I have a brief second issue, if there's time.
Sure, go ahead.
When you when you decided initially, like way back, to kind of become part of this movement. I mean, I think the New Hampshire movement already existed when you joined. I think, did it?
The Free State Project, which is part of this larger New Hampshire freedom migration, it had existed in 2001. I found it, I think, in 2002. So, I mean, I was relatively early in that process.
Okay. I mean, I sometimes wonder about what people's motives are, because we had the EU referendum in the UK a while back in the day. After that happened, there were people in the news saying, oh my God, I can't, what have we done? I voted leave, but I didn't know that we were actually going to win the referendum. I can't believe we've actually...
Well, you're talking about Brexit? You're talking about where Great Britain's planning to leave the EU?
I'm just making the comparison between that and people who joined the Liberty movement. I mean, let's say if you really believed that you were going to kind of do away with the government altogether, that you were going to become a stateless society, how much would you actually pause before that actually happened? Because it would probably be quite a scary step to make. I mean, I just wonder if...
I mean, I can understand why people are afraid of the unknown. Certainly, that's one of the reasons why people cling to the things that they're familiar with. But ultimately, if I had the button to push, I'd push it in a heartbeat. To get rid of institutionalized coercion, absolutely.
You would.
Any cost, I'd pay it.
However, I think it's worth pointing out that we have private societies now. We have libertarian societies. They exist. There's not going to be a world without the state, because even if you have a given geographic political area, non-political, a given geographic area that doesn't have a state, that area is still going to be affected. Historically, we can look at different areas in Europe and around the world that didn't have strong or existent civil governments for periods of time, and they were still affected by the surrounding areas. Usually they tended to be rural, by the way.
Okay, but I mean, Mark, for you to just write off the idea and say we'll never not have a state.
Well, no. I didn't say that. You're just not going to. You can't push a button and not have.
No, of course not.
And make the state go away.
But you can stop people believing in the state over time, and then the state will go away.
I'd like to make this point that the state doesn't exist on cruise ships. That we currently have libertarian societies now that
they fly a state flag. Those cruise ships.
So what?
That means they're regulated by
fabric.
That means they're regulated by whichever
they
state.
Pay a fee to Liberia or something. Okay, You're not talking about the amount of governmental interference through maritime law and through country the flag of origin laws or whatever is mitigable compared to, say, living in a penthouse suite in New York City.
You're right that there's more freedom to be found currently on the water.
Like 90-something% more on a cruise ship than you would find in one major city around the world. So we can see what it's like, and currently governments seem to think it's okay. They can live with that.
Can we thank you for the call tonight? I appreciate it. Let's continue with your calls and thoughts
Real
here.
quick, I want to say that the study that I was looking at had to do with marshmallows, not candy, which is about the same. And
It was kids taking the marshmallows?
It was a 15-minute wait rather than a 60-second wait. Okay, just to be clear, I like to be as factual as I can. Unfortunately, I got Daryl.
I am curious to know more about that study, though. Like, how many did they study? How many children? Yeah, if you want, I am curious to know more about it. And then when they checked back with them, was it 20 years, 30 years later? How often? Let's go back to your calls and thoughts, though. Chuck in Indianapolis, listening to WIBC FM. Hello, Chuck. Chuck in Indy. Hello. Oh, he's gone. Let's talk to Pittman, calling from South Carolina, listening via iHeartRadio. Hello, Pittman. You're on Free Talk Live.
Hey, great guys. You're doing a super job.
Thanks.
I dig listening to y'all.
Thanks, brother. Go ahead with your thoughts.
You were talking about the marijuana deal.
Yeah.
And the usage of it. And I'm 61 now and have been on and off messing around socially with it since I've been 13.
Okay.
A country boy. And I tell you, it's all different now. This new generation of I don't know how they're growing it. I mean, I'm ignorant to the facts, okay? But I'm telling you, it is 3 times, maybe 10 times stronger than I've ever seen.
And
in
that
my
is a
life.
good thing.
Yeah, it's good for me because I can't. I'm old and I can't smoke.
Right.
So one hit to me is absolutely perfect.
Right. So you don't need to take in as much smoke in order to get whatever the desired effects are in that particular case. In fact, you don't even need to smoke it anymore either. Pittman, if you had more to say, you can hang on. You don't even need to smoke cannabis anymore. They've got vaporizers now. You can eat it.
Gummy bears.
Yeah.
Hearing a lot about CBD these days? Yes, but which CBD products can you trust? Which website can provide proper education about CBD along with high-quality products? The answer? CBDonly.com. CBD, or cannabidiol, is one of hundreds of compounds found in the cannabis plant and one that contains a variety of medicinal benefits. Many doctors are starting to recommend CBD to their patients as an alternative or supplement to some pharmaceutical medications. CBD is becoming widely known to relieve pain, inflammation, and anxiety. Unlike THC that is found in the plant, CBD does not have psychoactive effects. In other words, it does not give the effect of being high. All CBDonly.com products are lab tested to ensure the highest quality standards. Shop CBDonly.com for CBD oils, edibles, vapes, skincare, even CBD for your pets. That's CBDonly.com. And to receive 15% off your order on CBDonly.com, use discount code CBDNOW. Remember, shop for CBD products you can trust. Shop CBDonly.com, your CBD superstore.
The new 4th edition of Healing Our World, The Compassion of Libertarianism, will take your understanding of liberty to a deeper level and has over 1,300 updated references, new cartoons, and a foreword by Dr. Ron Paul. With discounts for multiple book purchases, the 4th edition of Healing Our World is a great gift for the liberals, pragmatists, environmentalists, and Christians in your life who think libertarianism is cold-hearted. Get yours today at healing.freetalklive.com and use promo code FTL for a $5 discount. LRN.FM now has a Discord. Discord is a free text and voice chat platform, and we now have our own server with a bunch of channels at discord.lrn.fm. You can join other listeners as they chat about various things during our live shows, or anytime, day or night. Discord software is available cross-platform, so you can have it on whatever device you want and take your chats anywhere. Join our Discord at discord.lrn.fm. That's discord.lrn.fm.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 3 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Darryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for the weekend of December 1st and 2nd, 2018. Silver is trading at $14.17 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,222 per ounce. Zen is trading at $7, and the average price of Bitcoin is $4,272. Antiwar.com reports aiming to support Kurdish offensives against the last few of the Islamic State towns in eastern Syria. The U.S. has been conducting heavy airstrikes against those towns near the Iraqi border. According to the Syrian Observatory for Human Rights, this is killing a lot of civilians and non-combatants. In addition to the Islamic State fighters, the observatory reported that Wednesday U.S. airstrikes against Al-Shafa also targeted a hospital, a prison, and several civilian homes. They reported 40 killed in those strikes, mainly prisoners, with the toll continuing to rise as more bodies are found in the rubble. Further airstrikes on Al-Shafa on Friday were reported by Syrian state media, who put the death toll on those strikes at 30, including some civilians and combatants. The exact split, as is so often the case, was unclear. This has been a recruiting problem with strikes against these towns. The Islamic State has a lot of fighters within, but the U.S. has little information on where they are and are often striking despite cloud cover, hitting virtually random parts of the city and killing a lot more civilians than the Islamic State fighters.
You can support FPP Radio by shopping online. Whether you're looking for precious metals, bitcoins, or books, you'll find that and more at shop.fppradio.com. Every purchase you make from one of my affiliates at shop.fppradio.com helps fund FPP Radio. That's shop.fppradio.com.
UPI reports a grand jury on Friday indicted a former Dallas police officer on a murder charge. She had fatally shot an unarmed man after she entered the wrong apartment. Police arrested Amber Geiger on a manslaughter charge after the September 6th shooting death of Botham Jean. The grand jury began hearing the case on Monday. Geiger was off duty at the time of the shooting, but was wearing her uniform when she entered Jean's apartment. She told police she thought she was in her own apartment. Police said Geiger had just finished a 15-hour shift and got off the elevator on the 4th floor instead of the 3rd floor where she lived. She then opened the door to Jean's apartment, which was unlocked. The lights were off inside, and when she saw a man's figure, she thought her apartment was being robbed and opened fire. When she turned the lights on, she realized she went into the wrong apartment and killed a man in his own home. The Dallas Police Department fired Geiger on September 24th after facing criticism for keeping her on the force amid an investigation. She was released from jail on $300,000 bond. Jean's family also filed a lawsuit against the city of Dallas and the Dallas Police Department, saying Geiger had a history of violence and excessive force. Zencash has changed their name to Horizon to better represent their transition from a cryptocurrency to a pioneering platform that protects consumer data. They're working towards the day when anyone will be able to build privacy-based applications on the Horizon platform. The unique spelling of Horizon is a nod to their heritage and recognizes that they remain committed to the vision that their project was built upon. Their coin and ticker symbol remain ZEN. Learn more at horizon.global and join the Horizon community. HORIZEN.global. Reuters reports a federal judge in New York ruled on Friday the Trump administration cannot compel states and cities to cooperate with federal immigration authorities as a condition for receiving millions of dollars in federal law enforcement funds. The ruling by U.S. District Judge Edgardo Ramos in Manhattan is a victory for New York City and the states of New York, Connecticut, Massachusetts, New Jersey, Virginia, and Washington, which had sued the administration over the conditions in July. Ramos is at least the fourth federal judge to rule against President Donald Trump's administration on the issue. Ramos ordered the administration to award the funds without condition. New York Attorney General Barbara Underwood said in a statement, "Today's decision is a major win for the New Yorkers' public safety." The U.S. Department of Justice could not immediately be reached for comment. The lawsuits concern the Edward Byrne Memorial Justice Assistance Grants, which provide federal funds for state and local law enforcement. The Trump administration announced last year that to receive funding, state and local governments must give federal immigration authorities access to their jails and advance notice of immigrants released from custody. Federal judges in Pennsylvania, California, and Illinois have already ruled against the policy. The 7th U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals has upheld the Illinois ruling, finding that Congress and not the administration has the authority to decide how funds are spent. You can support FPP Radio by joining the Fans program. To learn more or to join the Fans program, visit fans.fppradio.com. That's fans.fppradio.com. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.
For over 12 years, Halverson Enterprises CEO Peter Weathers has taken a hands-on approach in all aspects of the tech firm's growth and day-to-day business. But employees say the executive's true talent lies in his unique ability to recognize great ideas and then absolutely ruin them.
For as long as I've worked here, Peter has been able to sit down in a meeting, listen to a million different ideas, pick out the one that makes the most sense creatively and financially, and then totally destroy it until there's basically nothing worthwhile about it left. He's remarkable.
Employees throughout the company say they're most impressed by Weathers' ability to water down promising ideas with meaningless jargon, consistently choose the wrong person to head up every project, and inject virtually every halfway decent thought with his own short-sighted and terrible insights.
At our all-hands meeting the other week, our team put forth a very feasible plan to boost productivity, and it was really incredible to see Peter's mind at work, just taking every good aspect of our proposal and dismantling it like a small child.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
Free Talk Live. We're launching into the third hour here. This live Saturday edition of the program. We continue. We'll take your calls and thoughts. Our toll-free number here is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Also, we've got the Discord on-air call-in line rooms. Just head on over to discord.lrn.fm. You can jump into one of those rooms, and you'll sound almost like you're sitting here in the studio with us. And with you tonight, it's Ian.
And Mark.
We got Pittman on the line in South Carolina. We were just talking, over the show, we've kind of come back to the concept of legalization of cannabis, but also a larger conversation we've had about ending the entire war on drugs. And Pittman called in South Carolina to talk a little bit about cannabis and how it's stronger now than it has been in the past. But that's not a bad thing. Some people will bring that up as though it's a bad thing. And you're actually pointing out, Pittman, that it's better for you because it means you don't have to smoke as much to get whatever the desired effects are, whether they be medical or recreational, right?
Correct. And you know, brother, I watched a lot of my friends, you know, out here, you know, at the fire, or roasting oysters or something, just having fun outside. They take in so much. These younger guys, 25, 30 years old, and just, to me, I just can't handle it. Just one or two nowadays. I'm done. And dude told me last week, here is one of these edibles, a little gummy thing.
Uh-huh.
And I took it and said, thanks. And he called it a 30 or something. I don't know what that means. I'm ignorant to the facts.
Okay.
But
probably 30 milligrams.
I popped it in my mouth. I popped it in my mouth and started chewing it. And dude looked at me and he said, "Oh, Jesus, Lord, have mercy. Get in the car and go home," because I live like 25 miles away. And I'm like looking at him. You know, I've been doing this all my life. You can't scare me.
Right. Oh, no.
Oh, my Lord. I made it about 30 miles to the local Publix grocery store and found myself walking through there looking at people saying, "How you doing? How you doing?" Hello, how you doing?
You're feeling friendly.
Come out. I know it. Dad gum. It's unbelievable.
So you were really stoned is what you're saying off of eating one of these gummy bears.
Oh, my Lord, have mercy.
Gotta know what you're taking.
I'm telling you, and that was at about 5 o'clock in the afternoon,
yeah.
and it went about all the way till like 9 or 10.
You know, you're just the kind of customer Publix wants in their store, by the way. They want you to be nice and hungry and
certainly.
stoned.
I know.
Good story, Pittman. I want to thank you for the call tonight, man. I do appreciate hearing from you.
Yes, sir. I appreciate y'all. Y'all are groovy.
Thanks,
Thank
brother.
you.
Appreciate it. And, you know, he is bringing an important lesson up here, and that is that back in the day, you know, if somebody made you a pot brownie, you didn't know anything about how strong it was. They could tell you, but one person's opinion about how strong a thing is versus another person's may not necessarily be the same. They could tell you what weed they used to make it. Maybe, oh, this is really good weed. Oh, how much of it did you put in there? Well, it's still, you don't know until you actually try it
right.
How effective it's going to be. Now, eating cannabis tends to be more effective as far as, consuming different ways you can consume. You can
also,
smoke.
you're not inhaling combusted plant material into
You're
your
not
lungs,
inhaling
which is great.
smoke, right? And when you combust the plant material, you're going to lose some of the active ingredient in the combustion process. You're just going to destroy it. So it's not as efficient to smoke it as compared to, say, vaporizing or to consume it edibly. And so you're getting all of it. When it goes down into your belly to be, digested, you're getting it all. So it's going to be a completely different feeling as well in a lot of cases because it's a different way to absorb it. And so you got to be careful. If you're getting an edible product for the first time, take a fraction of what the normal so-called dose is. Because if you don't know what 30 milligrams is like, then you're probably better off going with less than that. Anyway, good advice there. Good experience from our caller. And you're welcome to join us here. The toll-free number is 855-450, free like freedom. Let's talk to... We got Kevin. He's on the line in Tennessee, listening to WGOW in Chattanooga. Hey, Kevin.
Hey, how you doing?
Hey, good. You're on the air.
All right, man. Thanks. I normally don't call into these radio shows, but
it's all right. We'll go easy.
It really hit a nerve with me. What y'all discussed a little bit earlier about a lot of the people that get caught in these financial situations, we'll call it, when they're used to getting bailed out, by their parents and by a lot of the government programs that's out there. And I'm afraid that, and this is my opinion, is that a lot of these people are getting bailed out on such a regular basis that if the programs that are meant to help the unfortunate become a crutch to those who just don't want to help themselves. And, one thing that I've been a big proponent of, and I'd like to see take place, is those who get on these government programs, such as the government housing and the welfare programs of those nations that's designed to give people a hand up, not necessarily a handout. I'm a big proponent and an advocate for them doing the drug testing and things of that nature on these folks. If they're using our government funds to go out and, get high and all those other things, they don't really need it. Like, you've got individuals who, for whatever reason, have fell on hard times. Maybe they've, become disabled, maybe had a stroke or something, or maybe they've, lost their job with a downsizing. And they need that help.
Right. I don't have a problem with
get out and work.
I don't have a problem with what you're saying from a sort of emotional standpoint, but they've done this and they've checked into the results in states, and either people on welfare are not doing drugs, which seems highly unlikely, or they are somehow managing to dodge these drug tests and be okay with them. So maybe they're just using alcohol instead of marijuana or whatever. I don't know what they're doing, but so far those rules haven't been very successful when implemented. I think that if you want to stop the problem of poverty, the cycle of poverty, probably the best way to do it is to offer, because it seems to be generational, right? And it also, the government, for whatever reason, often the people that are getting the most assistance have the most kids. Just tell people, hey, we're going to keep welfare the same as it is, but you got to have your tubes tied in order to receive it. And then at that point, you're going to find out, A, how bad do people want this? Because now they got to get an operation. And B, you won't have a bunch of kids who are, in some cases, certainly not all, in some cases being born into poverty so that the parents can get another check. And not even a big one, mind you, a little one.
Right. Well, this is what I've found out. Again, you hear everything, except bacon frying. I mean, you hear everything when it surrounds these type of topics. And I have heard in many cases that the people who are going to be tested get a heads up from their caseworker because the more people that this guy has on his caseload, the better his paycheck is. So he has a motivation.
Right.
Help these folks.
I can't make government bureaucracy more efficient. No matter what kind of program I put together, I can't make bureaucrats disincentivized to do the things that they're incentivized. And one thing that's interesting is the government disability checks, or the people getting the checks, the number of people getting disability checks goes up when the economy is down. The amount of people who are disabled shouldn't be changed by the economy.
Correct. correct. And I'll tell you, I'm one of the first guys to get in line to help somebody. I mean, I
love helping people.
That many times, you know, and you know, hey, I've been there myself. You know, it's great to have somebody give you a little hand up and help you out. But like I said, my issue is the ones who are more of a chronic issue, who, you know, their mama was on it, their daddy was on it, their brother was on it, the whole family is on this stuff. They're all able-bodied. They can come out and get into everything on Saturday night and get around. But when it comes to time to go to work, they just can't seem to make it happen.
Can't make it happen.
Kevin, good call. I think a lot of us have those concerns, and I thank you for the call. And of course, you know, keeping this government forced wealth redistribution system around is, you know, it's never, ultimately the key incentives are never going to change. You can twist the little, you know, bits of the program here and there, but as long as there's free money out there for the taking, all you got to do is learn the system, because there's always, you know, people who know how to work the system. They're going to take advantage as long as it's there. So the only solution is to end it and allow charities and people who care to actually provide help.
From the first letter of Captain Mark. History is full of flowery documents claiming to limit the power of the crown, but these poetic social contracts have been impotent to prevent the predation. Limited government is a lie they use to keep us submissive. The crown cannot be trusted to abide by its founding charters, nor its treaties, nor even its own rules. The essence of the crown is centralized violence, and I've had enough. That's why I raised my black banner. I am no revolutionary. My aim is not to reset the cycle of violence, but to break it. My aim is an evolved society, invisible to the crown, not a new hierarchy, but decentralized networks with no central figure for the crown to target. If you want your servile life, keep it, but we will not submit to the crown's agenda. And when you are ready to stop being its beast of burden, ready for adventure and opportunity, join us at pirateswithoutborders.com.
Bitcoin.com is delighted to announce their latest partnership with the gift card specialists at eGifter. With many of the world's leading brands on their roster, it is now easier than ever to get the gift cards of your favorite brands with Bitcoin Cash. To get started, just follow these simple steps. Visit giftcards.bitcoin.com, pick the gift card you want, follow the instructions on your screen, and make your payment using your Bitcoin Cash wallet. Sit tight and your gift card will be delivered to you as soon as it's ready. That's giftcards.bitcoin.com.
There are basically two types of advertising: direct response and branding. Radio's great for direct response with its low cost to listener ratio, but audio can't be beat for branding, which is a longer-term endeavor. You want to be the first thing that someone thinks of when they think about your product or service. If you have a local business that you want kept top of mind in your community, call the station. If you need national reach, Free Talk Live's got around 200 radio stations, millions of monthly listening sessions, can suit all budgets, and if we don't think we're right for you, we'll tell you. Email me, mark@freetalklive.com.
So the protection of life, liberty, and property is what the Free State Project is all about. But it's an effort to move 20,000 people who understand.
It's about demonstrating to the entire country
that, yeah, we can have a free market, a truly free market.
Making it just a freer, great place to live.
It's the world's largest voluntarist libertarian community, and it's only getting bigger.
That's amazing, to be able to move to a place where other people passionately believe in being free and independent.
What the Free State Project is managing to do, though, is to put their money where their mouth is. It's physically getting up across the country and saying, let's go someplace and let's demonstrate the power of these ideas. There's a lot of kind of philosophy that surrounds liberty. There's a lot of thinking about it and talking about it. But here in New Hampshire, people are doing it.
101 Reasons Liberty Lives in New Hampshire, a documentary by Free State Project Early Movers. Watch it free at 101reasonsfilm.com. 101reasonsfilm.com. The LRN.FM social media channels have been revamped. We've eliminated Facebook and focused on other platforms like Twitter and Mastodon, the decentralized alternative to Twitter. On our accounts, you'll find posts from multiple LRN.FM show hosts together in one place. Follow us on Twitter at twitter.lrn.fm, or better yet, move to the decentralized Mastodon social media platform at toot.lrn.fm, toot.lrn.fm. I think you'll like it.
Cell 411 is a free app for Android and iOS that replaces government-controlled 911. Cell 411 allows you to preset a group of friends or private organizations to show up at any emergency. Cell 411 is a nightmare for the state because it proves their so-called services aren't needed. Cell 411 has had thousands of installs, and of course it's covered by the BIPCOT no government license. Cell 411 because your friends won't shoot you when you're in trouble. Without the government, who would build the emergency services? You and Cell 411. Get it today at getcell411.com.
Join the LRN.FM Discord for live chat 24/7 at discord.lrn.fm. That's discord.lrn.fm.
It is Free Talk Live. You can bring up whatever you want here. Take control of the airwaves. The toll-free number 855-450-FREE. Whether you want to discuss cannabis legalization, ending the war on drugs, or responsibility and incentives when it comes to why people get on welfare, why is it that people can't, get to work on time, the incentives controlling how their behavior ends up in a lot of ways. It's Ian and Mark here in the studio tonight. And did you miss ForkFest 2018? Well, you can start planning now to attend ForkFest 2019. You'll join liberty-minded voluntarists, anarchists, and libertarians next summer from June 13th to June 18th for ForkFest 2019 at Rogers Campground in the beautiful White Mountains of New Hampshire. ForkFest is a fork of other camping parties in the woods, and you're invited to come and create whatever experience you'd like others to have. ForkFest is decentralized, which means no one is in charge, so it's up to you to create what happens, or you can simply relax and go camping with other liberty-minded folks. You can go to learn more over at forkfest.party. That's forkfest.party. As we go to Shelley, she's in New Hampshire listening to WNTK on FM in the Upper Valley. Hello, Shelley.
Hi, I'm not in the Upper Valley. I'm in the Monadnock region.
Oh, all right. NTK signal. I didn't know it got down into Monadnock. Very good. Go ahead.
Thanks. Yeah. Now, when you was it Mark who made the comments about one of the incentives being getting your tubes tied?
Yeah, I think it should be an incentive. I think it should be a requirement for receiving welfare.
Okay, and vasectomies also you're talking about.
Correct. I mean, that's why I use the term tubal ligation is probably something most people don't know about, and vasectomy. So that's why I use the term tubes tied.
Okay. Either way, now somebody is on welfare because they really do need some help, and it's a temporary stopgap measure, and you're going to say for the rest of your life you're not going to have any kids.
You can reverse the operation. It's costly, but it can be done.
So you're saying for the very first check, this person needs not like 6 months in or 12 months in.
If you're taking the check, you're taking my money, which was taken from me by force by the government in order to hand out to people. Let's just solve this problem.
It was taken from you after you took it from the natives who were here. It's been stealing from one group, from another, from another, from another.
Theft doesn't make theft okay.
Pardon me?
Theft doesn't make theft okay.
Why were you stealing from native people, Mark? That's what I want to know. What have you not been telling me about?
She's correct that that much is that's true.
You've been stealing from natives?
No, she's saying that people have stolen from natives and that I have benefited from that, and that much is true. I'm not going to dispute that. But
you didn't do it.
Well, I can't.
Oh,
but
for God's sake.
Go ahead.
You're reaping the benefits of it.
Sure, but how does that justify theft?
A lot of people on welfare are not reaping the benefits. You are being very simplistic. I mean, I'm listening to your program, and
can you critique the idea rather than just saying I'm a simpleton? I mean, I'm fine.
No, I didn't say you're a simpleton. I said it's being very simplistic.
I want simple answers. You're right.
Well, I'm sorry. Life's not that simple. It's
Here's some simple. Theft doesn't solve theft. Right? So stealing from me to give to other people doesn't solve that. I'm simply trying to create better incentives. And if you address that, I'd be happy to hear it. But you're not going to convince me otherwise unless I hear why it's not a good idea to... Go ahead.
Let me try it from another angle.
Yes, ma'am. Please.
Okay. You are breathing the air.
Yep.
It's free.
Communist air. Got it.
Okay. Same with the water. Well, no, now we're being charged
Less so.
for water because
Yeah.
it's getting less and it's getting more screwed up. Let's see, food, wildlife. You know,
I pay for my food.
We have made it so impossible for people to just live. You want natural? I'd love natural, but it's not possible now. We have to deal with what we have, and what we have now is a very sick society, and if we don't learn to take care of each other, yeah, it would be nice if government would be helpful, but it's more likely to screw things up than anything
Agreed.
else. I
Sure.
would agree
Yeah.
with you on that. But your answers, it's like, you know, oh, well, let's tie somebody's tubes. or
I'm
let's
not
do
forcing
that.
them to take the program. I mean,
If somebody needs the money because they can't eat otherwise because we have so
nobody starves in
screwed up-
America. Sorry.
What?
The poor people are fat in America. Show me a picture.
Do you know
Find
why
me the
poor people are obese? Do you understand anything of the physiology of obesity?
I know what calories are, and they're getting plenty
Well,
of them.
I'm sorry, but there's different kinds of. There are
Agreed.
calories
They're crappy
and there are
calories. Look,
There,
I know.
No. Here now we're being simplistic again. There are calories that will make you gain weight, and there are calories that will help you maintain.
I've been in the
weight.
produce section relatively recently, and there's some pretty cheap produce out there. You can get some good stuff. You can choose to eat Zoom Zooms and Wham Whams and get fat on them, or you can choose to eat better. A bag of carrots isn't terribly costly. And I'll go even further with you at this. If you actually wanted to panhandle for food out in front of a grocery store and said, hey, I need a bag of carrots, a stalk of celery, and whatever it is that you need, you'd be fine. The people will buy it for you.
By the way, if you want to actually look at a place where people are having a tough time finding any calories, go to Venezuela, where 80% of the people there, according to a human rights group that recently put numbers out, not quite starving, but they are short on food, meaning they're missing meals. Their meals are very, very incomplete, malnutrition. They don't have access to even some of the most basic forms of calories. You can't even get a chicken particularly easily in
They're
a place
losing
like,
weight.
Every year, the average Venezuelan is losing something like 10 to 20 pounds.
I don't hate on poor people. I've been short on funds myself, and Mom's helped me out in certain circumstances. There's no doubt about it, and I consider it a real blessing, especially considering she's an adopted parent and I'm not actually her blood. But I mean, you can't have good examples if you don't have bad examples.
I'd just like to say, listening to your conversation, Mark and Shelley, on this, you're once again, it's going back to an issue we discussed earlier where you've got government pitting neighbors against one another.
Yeah.
You think tying tubes is a good idea, Mark. She says that's not a good idea. She might have a better idea or a different idea of how to change the incentives within this crappy government program, which you admitted, Shelley, putting the government in charge of something is a terrible idea generally. So if we want to help people, then let's get the government out of the realm of helping people. Let's just get rid of the whole coercive governmental system entirely, and then let people who actually care and who want to provide services to their neighbors come up with whatever programs they want to. And if somebody's got a program that says, hey, we'll pay your rent as long as you get your tubes tied for X amount of months or whatever, then you could choose to support that, Mark. You might choose to support them. Shelley,
sounds like a great charity.
You would probably choose not to support them. You might choose one that had a different set of rules or whatever. And I think that would make a better world where we don't all have to fight over this one-size-fits-all government system where each individual can choose to support whatever charitable efforts that they find most aligned with how they feel, with their value set, and then nobody has to force anything on anybody unnecessarily. How's that sound?
It sounds like you're darling. And if people were as wonderful as I think you think they are, I would be all for it.
Are you saying that people aren't good folks generally, or what are you saying?
Oh, yeah, sure. A lot of people are not.
What percentage?
Oh, honey, I don't know. But,
Is it a majority?
No, I don't think so.
So then most people
are
good people.
I think most people are good. But I think those people who aren't good can do a tremendous amount of damage.
And what
Especially
happens
if they get in the government?
Right, what happens when they get in charge of the state, the violent state? Shelley, thanks for the call. More coming up.
Hear that? That's the sound of a house being trashed while a gang of thieves ransack the place. And what they don't steal will be destroyed.
This year, resolve not to be the next victim of a break-in. Go to faketv.com and discover a device that creates the illusion someone inside is watching TV, even when you're miles away. Security is a mindset, and Fake TV should be part of your security solution. Be vigilant, but not fearful. faketv.com.
Most of you know that heart disease is the #1 silent killer in the U.S. What if I told you for just $54.95 a month you could fight against heart disease naturally? At Heart and Body Extract, we've been helping thousands of people get back to a healthier heart. Don't just take my word for it. Check out all of the success stories at hbextract.com, or to order, call 866-295-5305. That's 866-295-5305. hbextract.com. Don't risk it when you can take charge of it.
Are you a sneezer? If you're not, can you get close to one? I don't literally mean someone sneezing. Sneezer, as defined by marketing guru Seth Godin, is an opinion leader. When a sneezer mentions something, other people catch what Godin calls the idea virus. Seth Godin says some people are more likely to tell their friends about a great new idea. So identifying and courting sneezers is a key success factor for idea merchants. His book, Unleashing the Idea Virus, is the most downloaded ebook in history, and you can download the whole book free. That's how he's making his idea contagious. Click tips, tricks, and other stuff to help you cut through the clutter at www.survivalspeech.com. I'm Holland Cook.
We've all heard about blockchain assets like Dogecoin, Ether, and Ripple. Bitcoin isn't the only player in the blockchain game any longer. And for those of us wondering how to get our hands on these digital assets, finally, there's a solution. Shapeshift.io allows you to buy and sell between your digital assets and Bitcoin instantly between your own digital wallets. I've used it with ease. Shapeshift.io. There's no account or email address needed. You send them the crypto you want to sell. They send back the crypto you want to buy. It's that easy. Shapeshift.io.
Did you know we've taken our LRN.FM telephone listen line to a new level with the LRN.FM audio on demand line? Now you can call 712-770-8447 anytime and listen to LRN.FM's live feed. And you can listen to a bunch of our original shows on demand. Long distance fees may apply. Just dial 712-770-8447 and choose from the menu. 712-770-8447.
Free Talk Live.
For me, it's fighting negativity, and the negativity is my thoughts in my head that are negative. And I had to learn to recognize when my thoughts were being negative, because most of my life, most of my thoughts were negative. Mm-hmm. So I had to become aware of when they were happening. And when I become aware of these negative thoughts pervading my thinking, I immediately fight them with positive thoughts. And most of the positive thoughts that I feed myself are positive affirmations about who I am, where I'm going, where I've come from.
Whenever I find myself thinking negatively, I don't consider it fighting the negative thoughts. I just consider it changing my train of thought. I just kind of change tracks to a positive thought and just focus on that.
Free Talk Live, 7 nights a week from 7 to 10 Eastern, live on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM. You're listening to the best liberty-oriented audio streamed around the clock, on the air and online. This is the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
It is Free Talk Live, and it's the live Saturday edition of the program. You can dial in toll-free here and bring up what you want. Our number is 855-450-FREE, like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. Also, we got the Discord on-air call-in line rooms. We're going to go to one of those coming up here in a moment. We've got 4 of them. 2 out of the 4 are occupied right now, so you can jump into one of those and upgrade your sound quality. Because if it's easier for us to understand you, and it's always easier over Discord, unless you've got some sort of internet,
better sound quality.
Unless you got some sort of internet problem, it's going to sound better.
This is how radio talk show hosts interview the people they interview: is they use some kind of voice over IP system like this.
Because it sounds
you
better.
Now have the opportunity on Free Talk Live, and probably no other radio show in America.
Yeah, I wonder if anyone else is doing that.
To sound like you're almost in the studio.
Yeah. Pretty much.
That kind of sound quality.
Check it out for yourself. You can grab the Discord app for your favorite smartphone device. There's also laptop, Linux, Mac, Windows, iOS, Android, whatever you're using, you can get Discord for it.
Just another way that Free Talk Live provides excellent customer service for its listeners, so you can call in and sound great while you call us idiots.
You're damn right. So we're going to continue here. And by the way, thank you for our last caller from New Hampshire.
Yep.
She was great. If you want to call in again, we'd love to hear from you anytime. It's just a one call per night rule here on Free Talk Live, and we're here 7 nights a week. So even if we're not on locally on your local talk radio station, rest assured we're here and somebody's listening.
If it's 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. Eastern time, then we're on the air.
That's
and
correct.
We're doing a radio program, and we'd love to have
even
your call.
on Christmas Eve, even on Christmas Day, Thanksgiving Day,
Free Talk
New Year's
Live's
Eve.
providing that show. Unlike the people on welfare who taking it easy.
All right, so let's continue with your calls and thoughts here. Wesley the G is on the line. He's on our Discord
Is it
server.
the G or with a G?
It's the G.
Okay.
Wesley.
Hi.
Hey, you're
How's it
calling us
going?
from South Korea. You're in Pyeongtaek.
Pyeongtaek, South Korea. That's right. So yesterday I was talking to some people, and I was trying to persuade them about that we don't need courts or police or really anything provided by the government. That it could all be privatized.
So you need
And
courts
they
and you need courts and you need police, but you need private courts and private police is what you're saying.
Well, yeah.
Okay.
Basically. So they would say if there wasn't a government, then essentially like warlords would take over, and that it would be a society of might makes right, and that people could just rule over each other by force.
What evidence do they have that isn't what's happening today?
Well, they use that. They said that's what happened in the past, and it was happening now, and so it would continue to happen.
So we've seen some stability from might makes right was the form of government that we have, but we have gotten some level of I'm going to presume that's a baby, some level of stability from that particular system, right? So we did have might makes right and stability ensued. Is that correct?
I guess.
Well,
when did stability ensue from might makes right? There's always somebody who's going to try to take over.
There's always
right?
some level of stability. Well, if we're talking about the situation in Korea, the Kims took over, right? Might made right, and you have some level of stability
it doesn't
today.
Make right. That's
fine. Might made success.
Okay.
All right, and it's the same in South Korea.
Might makes victory for a time.
That's right. Political success ultimately comes from the barrel of a gun. Right? You may have elections. But the reason that Al Gore or Hillary Clinton didn't take office was because more or less the government, the people in the government wouldn't have allowed that to happen. That we have some rules written down or whatever. They've written down some rules, but that still might makes right all in all. The people that don't like particular drugs are winning because they got the people with the guns on their side. But, the things are changing, and now the people with the guns are on the other side. It's just political power comes from the barrel of a gun no matter what. It's all coercion, ultimately. So what I would say is that, look, I don't know what would happen in the absence of the government because we're not allowed to try that. No state is going to let us do that. I don't know what that was. That sounds like an internet problem.
Sorry. I'm so sorry.
Yeah. So that sounds like we don't know what's going to happen in the absence of the state. But should I not be able to buy a piece of land and, me and my friends go move on that land and not have to follow the particular rules of, whatever the municipality or the state or the province or the government or whatever it is on that piece of land? Shouldn't we be able to do that and experiment in governance? And to me, once you're able to do something like that, then you're going to see better systems. We're currently working with a form of government that is not much different than it was 9,000 years ago with Jericho and the first state that we've been able to find up to this point. At this point, we don't have a monarchy. We don't have an absolute monarchy, but we do elect a monarch in the United States every 4 years. The president, the functional difference between a president and an English king at the time, not much different.
But elections.
Well, elections are just people forcing their opinion on other people. I mean, it's just a threat.
Yes, to just play devil's advocate. The president is limited by the Supreme Court and
the English king.
Government.
Yes, spend a little time. And not everybody knows 17th century English. Law or anything like that. But spend a little time on it, and you'll see that the monarch in England was a limited chief executive.
Really?
They were just really the difference between, say, King George III and the power of Trump today is, well, technology and time, but it really just has to do with birthright succession.
Okay, well, I've seen Ian argue for like abolishing the government or like make taxes voluntary and then have voluntary associations, and then that would kind of like eliminate the government. So like I would assume Ian has some kind of insight on how to on how this system would work.
On how a voluntary system would work?
Yeah, and like how to prevent like warlords from taking over and essentially creating a new state.
One thing you have to ask yourself about warlords taking over is, what are they going to take over? Without a capital building, without government buildings to take over, it's much harder to take over.
Right.
To rule is completely different than to destroy a state.
Even though we can understand that a government is essentially a very successful warlord, a very successful criminal gang occupying a specific territory, even though we see that pretty clear, the average person doesn't see that. And that's because government has the aura of legitimacy surrounding it.
They've told us that we are the government.
Right, and that you get to vote, so therefore it's not the same thing as a warlord. But ultimately the results are very similar. And so even though we can see it, the average person can't. And so my point here is the average person isn't going to have a tough time seeing a warlord, an actual warlord, for what it is. Men with guns barring the road, demanding extracts, forcible extracts of wealth and obedience from you, will be quite clear to the average person that they're not that's not something they're consenting to. So you would defend against a warlord in the same way that you would defend against any other thug that tried to take over your neighborhood.
Right. Okay. So, like, say we did have this peaceful thing where like the government was abolished, everyone read Rothbard, and we were all having a good time. Like, what if humans are just naturally they without a government, they just they go like crazy and then they start killing each other.
We have never advocated for no government. I advocate for privatizing the services of government. I'm not saying there should be no government. There will be a government. The question is do we want a monopolistic, hierarchical, top-down state that is forced upon you at birth, as opposed to an organization that you might be able to switch between like you would a cell phone company or an insurance company?
People are going to want protection from those crazies who are interested in killing other people. Luckily, most people aren't interested in killing one another, and they understand that cooperation and friendly competition is the way to go. Thanks for the call.
I don't like the term anarchist, by the way. There are basically two types of advertising: direct response and branding. Radio's great for direct response with its low cost to listener ratio, but audio can't be beat for branding, which is a longer-term endeavor. You want to be the first thing that someone thinks of when they think about your product or service. If you have a local business that you want kept top of mind in your community, call the station. If you need national reach, Free Talk Live's got around 200 radio stations, millions of monthly listening sessions, can suit all budgets, and if we don't think we're right for you, we'll tell you. Email me, mark@freetalklive.com.
Do you operate a retail business and are looking for a solution for point-of-sale cryptocurrency acceptance? It's never been easier thanks to AnyPay.global. There's no paperwork or approval process to open an account. If you already have a tablet, you're almost done. Just sign up at AnyPay.global, drop your personal crypto wallet addresses on the setup page, and then load the app. That's it. You're accepting cryptocurrency like Bitcoin and Dash at your store. Get started now at AnyPay.global. AnyPay.global.
Bags under the eyes, crow's feet,
Fine lines and wrinkles are things adults complain about as they age. Now there's Instantly Ageless. It works in minutes and is great for men and women. Here's a clip from The Rachel Ray Show testing the results of Instantly Ageless.
Board-certified dermatologist Dr. Whitney Bowe.
If you're looking to try to turn back the clock on a budget, in the privacy of your own home, but actually there's some recent technologies emerging, almost like changes the behavior of the skin while it sits on the skin.
She went off to try a product called Instantly Ageless.
Yeah, instantly you could see a difference. Even the cameraman were like, wow, look at the difference.
Yeah,
but I would definitely use this product.
This product, within minutes of applying it, it was actually a very dramatic rejuvenation.
Try Instantly Ageless today at GCNlife.com. That's GCNlife.com. 30-day money-back guarantee and preferred price discount at GCNlife.com. That's GCNlife.com.
Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm. If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com. You can get emailed announcements and participate in contests via our email updates list. Plus, we have a Twitter account that you can follow and a Facebook page where you can become a fan. So visit news.freetalklive.com to get news about Free Talk Live as soon as it's announced and the way you want it delivered at news.freetalklive.com. That's news.freetalklive.com.
When you hear the word lobbyist, you probably think about greedy corporations, but not all lobbyists are the same. Some are fighting for the freedoms you hold dear. Liberty Lobby LLC is doing just that in New Hampshire, working hard to represent you, not some special interest group. You can help by going to libertylobby.info, where your contribution will give us the tools we need to ensure that your voice is heard. Visit libertylobby.info today to find out more.
Do you love Twitter? Make sure you favorite the LRN.FM Twitter account so you can receive our tweets at twitter.lrn.fm. That's twitter.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live. Moments remain here. Enough time for you. If you want to join us now, you can. The toll-free number here is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. And we had fun last night on our after show on Twitch. We've got a Twitch channel. It is our video streaming platform. Of course, most people listen to us on the radio, and then there's a large group that listen via our podcast at freetalklive.com, which you can go and download anytime you want. And then there's a few people that are watching our video streams, and so we've done something that's a little unusual. We've actually kind of broken from our usual format of being a radio show, and we've started producing after shows on occasion, usually once or twice a week, on Twitch, which is our video streaming platform. We've been doing it exclusive to Twitch. We've been advertising it as Freer Talk Live because we don't have the FCC censors to deal with on Twitch, so we can cover more explicit content. So last night's show, which went for...
Some people want to talk about those things, and they can't do it on the radio. Sorry.
It's true. There's just certain things that we can't allow on the radio, but we could allow on this Twitch feed that we had last night. So we ended up talking about things like BDSM, for instance. Mark, you took a test, which was particularly interesting. You'll have to go and find that. It's within our 4.5-hour-long show that we did after our 3-hour radio show last night.
I was just a guest on the show. I wasn't here in the studio.
Yeah.
I just happened to listen to you guys and probably stayed up too late and had too much wine while I was listening, but nonetheless, I had to give up. You guys were still going when I left the room.
So if you want to hear Mark's results from the BDSM test, you'll have to go to twitch.lrn.fm, click on the video collections, and then you can find our most recent episode 3
all I
of the
gotta
after
say
show.
is people with fetishes have too much time on their hands.
So that's there for you if you want it. Let's go to Libertariat on our Discord call-in line. Go ahead, Libertariat.
Well, yeah, I'm just, I didn't know about the Twitch after show, so apparently I have to listen to this afterwards, but I call in not because Mark is my fetish, but I felt like I had to defend him against Shelley because she was saying that he was using his privilege, and I think that of all the hosts on LRN.FM, I think that Mark is the least privileged as a convicted felon, and I think that the ad hominem attacks that you see in political discourse today do a great disservice because people just assume because as a white male that Mark is somehow exercising his privilege. But he is someone who has had to deal with great adversity in his life. And to just assume because he's a white male, he's clearly taken advantage of people. But to come from an adoptive family as someone who was convicted of murder and then to be a hugely successful, nationally syndicated talk show host.
Well, hugely successful.
We made it.
We're still here.
Well, on soon to be hundreds. I say that because once you break 200, there will be hundreds of radio stations. I think that to just say that he achieved that because he's a white male is a great disservice to him.
I didn't hear her say that, but it's certainly the sort of thing that has been said in the past.
Mm-hmm.
And I won't claim that there aren't advantages to being male. There are advantages to being female too, and that there aren't advantages to being, appearing white. I don't claim an ethnicity because I don't really see the point in it.
Most of the time, though, Mark, you do sales, which you're doing it for a national radio show, so you're not going and knocking on doors. You're making phone calls.
I am making phone calls.
The person who you're talking to doesn't know necessarily what color your skin is. They could make a guess, but they don't really know.
Yeah, I'll just say that there are advantages to that. However, it's a 100% reality that as a convicted felon, and I was released as an order of the Florida Supreme Court, but I was not exonerated. I just decided it wasn't worth fighting anymore because I had my freedom. That as a convicted felon, I simply, there are laws that prevent me from doing things. Lots of things. There aren't any laws that prevent anybody else from doing any other thing, and all this privilege stuff has to do with social things. I'm not saying it's not true. I'm just saying that it's social, whereas mine is legal. I am not equal under the law, and that's a reality. If I decide for whatever reason to tell Ian and Daryl to go take this job and shove it, and they can figure out their own radio show stuff from here, and I'm going to go get a different job, I'm going to have to deal with the fact that I came out on the air years ago as a convicted felon, and it's going to be much more difficult to be a 50-year-old convicted felon and trying to convince people, oh no, everything will be fine. It'll be fine. Just let me come work there.
Yeah, I think the thing that triggered me the most, to borrow a millennial word about that, was that the caller seemed to suggest that you didn't know about adversity or that you hadn't experienced it, and that she seemed to be speaking from her perspective. Maybe she hadn't listened to the show for as long as I have, but it was just like she didn't understand that, like, you have been there and you know what it's like to struggle with adversity and to be a marginalized person in society. And I just felt like her response to you was completely tone deaf. And I come from a perspective of someone who's listened to the show for a while. But it's just, it just struck me and caused me to call in, which I normally don't do, because I felt like that she was talking to you as if she didn't understand that you knew.
She may not.
She could have been her first time listening, or I know she did sound like she'd listened before, but she's only getting us on Saturday nights, for instance, there on WNTK.
Right, and it's difficult. Look, I've had a certain amount of success in my life. We're talking about this moment in time that we call the present, and people like to look at the present. And the success I've had, is a result of good decisions, ladies and gentlemen. I came from as bad as it gets in 1998, walking out of prison with only the money I had earned from work release in my pocket. Good decisions like not doing the drugs and partying all night, showing up to work, finding a good mate who is going to help me to achieve the things I want rather than just being a drag on you and a constant emotional suck of time and energy. Just leave that stuff. Make good decisions, put good decisions in front of each other, and then you don't need to take the government programs.
Yeah, I just want to make sure that people saw you as more of a Nick Cage and Con Air than a Leonardo DiCaprio and Wolf of Wall Street.
Thanks for the call tonight, Libertariat. I appreciate it. They're on the Discord on-air call-in line room. Sounded good, too. Let's go to John. He's in Louisiana or L.A. I'm not sure which. John, you're on Free Talk Live.
How you doing tonight?
Hey, where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Los Angeles.
All right, welcome.
Thank you. Yeah, I was going to stay with Mark over there, talking about like welfare and shit,
Oh, no, you can't say that on the radio. Bye-bye. We got to get rid of you there. I'm sorry.
That's not the way that works here on the radio. You just can't say the S word.
Yeah, dude waited for almost an hour to say the S word on the radio, and it never made it.
I think he was trying to do his, he's like, hey, your Italian accent there, and that it just includes using the S word.
Yeah.
In it, and as he uses it. So call back some other time. Try it. But don't use the S word.
I don't know if he was going to lead to something intelligent. It didn't sound like it. I
have no idea.
We don't really.
I can do your Vinny accent for you if that's what you need, though. Hey.
Yeah. All right. So you can, of course, join the show here and bring up anything that you want. I know, Mark, there was some news about apparently a protest, a hunger strike going on down in Tijuana. Earlier this week, there was a headline about some people trying to break down at least one part of the border wall and slip through a crack.
Yeah. Who thought that was going to go well?
They got blasted back, apparently, by tear gas, pepper spray.
I find that the tear gas, which, by the way, did not occur just under the Trump administration, it occurred under the Obama administration, too. But I find it interesting that government agents are firing ballistic weapons from one nation to another. And no one says anything about that. They'll call a bunch of poor people trying to find jobs, presumably. They'll call that an invasion, but they won't call government agents firing ballistic weapons into another country an act of war. Yeah. It's interesting.
Yeah, it is. It's an interesting situation, and obviously, if there's more developments, we're going to continue to report on it. But the hunger strike is the most recent headline coming out today. That it doesn't sound like much more than a handful of people are.
I don't have time to get into it, but it looks like some of they're mentioning women in particular here. Maybe we're supposed to feel bad when women don't eat. I don't know. It sounds like latent sexism that I'm being socialized with here. But nonetheless, they're going to choose not to eat. I suspect you will find Americans. Government agents, most people to be pretty callous towards a hunger strike. I don't think hunger strikes do much.
Well, I think that when you're in a circumstance where you're in captivity by a government, it's one thing to do a hunger strike as a protest, say, in
you might get
jail
a news
cell.
Story.
Right, that's basically all you're going to get out of it, unless you need to lose some weight, in which case you'll burn some calories.
Yeah, if you tell the news that you're doing a hunger strike, you'll probably get a news story, and if you make it 2 months, you might get another.
But again, that's not to say I don't support their ability to or their wish to get into the United States and have a better chance at a better life. But we can talk about that another night. We'll see you tomorrow online. In the meantime, freetalklive.com. Have a good weekend.
Hi, I'm Derek J. I don't want a politician to represent me. To me, government is the idea that one group of people can coerce everyone to comply with an edict or face increasing punishments up to and including death. Despite perhaps the most noble of intentions, the best government services are a far cry from what could be provided for by voluntary interactions. Besides, the people who call themselves the government wage wars and put peaceful people in jail for crimes involving no victims. If Starbucks used some of its money to drop bombs, I wouldn't shop there. So why would I support the American empire? The empire does not require my consent.
Derek J's Victimless Crime Spree. Watch it for free and order the Director's Cut DVD at victimlesscrimespree.com. That's victimlesscrimespree.com. Are you a cryptocurrency advocate? The Crypto Tip is the ideal outreach tool to help new people discover cryptocurrency. It's a printable business card-sized tip that you can give to service providers, preferably in addition to a good cash tip. When the server scans the QR code, it'll bring up an explanation of cryptocurrency, how to install a wallet, and allow them to claim the tip. If they don't claim the crypto, you get your tip refunded to you after a time period you specify. Plus, if they do claim the tip, you get an email alert. Create as many tips as you want at cryptotip.org. That's cryptotip.org. Some of you asked, and now we've delivered. LRN.FM's live Keene, New Hampshire studio shows are now streamed in HD on Twitch. Visit our channel at twitch.lrn.fm and give it a follow. If you have Amazon Prime, you get one free subscription on Twitch. If you use it on our channel, Twitch will give LRN.FM a monthly piece of your Prime subscription cost. So please watch, follow, share, and subscribe to twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm.
Questioning Authority is coming up next, live after the news on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Darryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for the weekend of December 1st and 2nd, 2018. Silver is trading at $14.17 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,222 per ounce. Zen is trading at $7, and the average price of Bitcoin is $4,272. Antiwar.com reports aiming to support Kurdish offensives against the last few of the Islamic State towns in eastern Syria. The U.S. has been conducting heavy airstrikes against those towns near the Iraqi border. According to the Syrian Observatory for Human Rights, this is killing a lot